about this shit, which is that it's very much a sort of a quantum process. It's like you all ever watch Scrubs, and when JD has those imaginations uh, about what might happen, he's actually creating a quantum simulation in his brain with his quantum consciousness. It says being politically correct is not kosher, speaking your mind and stop beating around the bush. Man, these chat messages are so confusing. Like, like first I get asked, how do you use top 10 SE trailing stop? And now this guy says, being politically correct is not kosher, speak your mind and stop beating around the bush. Don't know what that's supposed to mean.
You have a varied audience, like a wide range of audience.
I feel like Sam like changed his mind in the middle of his. All right.
Tam knew, but no, I was just saying, mind like don't beat around the bush.
But you just said that being politically correct
Is not kosher.
is not kosher. Oh, it's not kosher.
So don't be kosher,
Oh, okay,
I
okay.
think.
I get it. I get
Yeah.
it. Sorry. That was my mistake. I'm an idiot.
Yeah, yeah, yeah. Don't be kosher. Being invoke. No, just kidding. Um,
Okay. Whoa,
Let's
whoa.
not
We're
get
gonna
a
we're gonna
let's
get to the
not
point
let's
where we can't actually
let's keep
post this
it
on YouTube.
There's one class of people that we cannot even make fun of, okay? Not even
especially.
I can make fun of those people,
well, we're
okay?
not including any of
The
this in
Koreans,
the
right?
recording. So I'm not
Yeah.
gonna upload any of this. So if you have anything
No,
weird you want to say, do it now.
just censor it
Before I
out.
do the
No, this is
no, I
fun.
don't want to
It's a
have to
fun.
actually censor stuff that takes so long.
Come on, it's just like a beep.
I mean, isn't it fine as long as it's not Tay?
Nope.
I don't know. And we could just stick to
There you
talking
go.
about the
We
platform
only
and
have
how to
Assist
use
users.
BigShort, how to use the top 10 list, that sort of thing. Okay.
Matt sitting in his seat right now thinking like, man, I'm so glad Sarah's here.
I'm
You
still
nailed it. Nailed it.
admitting people.
Hey,
Well,
before we get all serious and stuff, Tay, did you actually buy that house I saw a picture of on the water in Puerto Rico?
not on the water, no.
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 Puerto Rico.
Hey guys, how's it going?
Hello. Okay, I'm still
Are we
admitting
starting this
people,
or what?
but yes, let's officially start. So,
Temecula Joe, where are you? Stop taking care of your dad. Is that you, Joe? Is that you?
I don't know, everyone's just adding him in the Discord. So, you there? Oh, I see Joe. Is that you? Are you in Temecula, Joe? You got your camera on? Oh, oh, no. Okay,
Oh,
well, let's officially.
that must be Joe. Joe, say hi. But we can't hear you, Joe.
Oh,
Hey, you
on
gotta
mute.
turn your mic on. Hi, Joe.
Oh, look, Jeff is turning on his camera too. Everyone's it's a camera festival now.
I'll turn mine on.
Okay. Um, wow. It's a whole party. Wow, look at all these
Wow.
old white
Hello.
guys.
You better be careful there, Jeff. If I hope you signed the pro agreement, repping the Edward Jones investment.
I used to be a financial advisor there.
Gotcha.
Okay, so
Well,
now
welcome
we
to the
are
ball game.
officially beginning this Q&A session. Welcome, guys. Thank you so much for attending. This is a live forum where we will answer any questions you have about Big Short and how to use the platform. And you can also ask Tay about his trading strategies. So anyone want to open it up with a question about Big Short or
We
trading in
also have
general?
these chat questions, but these chat questions they're like nonsensical, but you could read them to me, Sarah.
Yeah, I'll read them as we go.
But let's take a question from somebody who's courageous enough to use their voice.
Oh, I can ask a question.
Okay.
Well, actually, I kind of want to get everybody's do or input on this, because obviously I don't want to just monopolize. Is everybody interested in seeing Hobbite do a read through of charts, like seeing how he uses all the indicators? Is that something we want on this Q&A? That's something I'm interested in. If you don't all want to speak up, I guess you can use the react button down on the Zoom thing.
Could people say their name when they start talking? We have more people than what
Just so you
comes up
know,
on the
Ben, in
list.
previous Q&As, I'm always, talking about the
doing
charts and
the
shit.
doing the same thing? Okay. So
Yeah.
in that case, I will do my best to
Ben's
find
been here for
a
2 weeks and he's
prime.
acting like he runs the place already.
I I really like your product, man. That's all I can say is I really like your
Yay.
product and I want it to be successful, but I think that you're leaving so much money on the table. That's all.
You're
That's it
telling me shit.
basically. Yeah,
But
yep.
Happy to hear you like the product.
anyways, let's get a question from a
Should I
user.
start reading? Does anyone have an out loud question? Otherwise, I'll start reading questions
Hey,
from
look, it's
the
Mars. He
chat.
didn't get the courage to speak into the mic after all. But
Hi, Mars.
Yeah, so I have a question.
yeah, Jeff, let's get a question from Edward Jones.
Yeah, okay. So yeah, I'm no longer with Edward Jones, but I love the product. Tay, you're great for being on here, and Sarah and whoever else every day answering a ton of questions. It's super helpful. I'll give you a specific question. Short exempt. I'm just starting to find out how to use it. So I'd love to know. I basically sell puts on the top three. And any of
Well,
those that, but
I wouldn't do it so much like that. There's a lot of different kinds of shorting in the market, as you probably know because you work for Edward Jones. There's there's different reasons why people short. Like sometimes when these institutions are shorting, they're doing some kind of like a combination trade on like a hedging bonds or warrants or something, and sometimes it's like part of a shelf offering. There's all these kinds of nuances that are um like basically impossible to delve into everything all the time, like algorithmically. Like you can't just automatically. I mean, I could probably devote my life to writing some kind of SEC filing analyzer with Andrew, but that's not what I want to do. So you know, I just put together this good enough list for you of the top 10. But yeah, I mean, you could sell the puts. You could also go long. I mean, the choice between selling puts, buying calls, and just buying shares, that's obviously a personal. Somebody is talking. Andy H, I think. But anyways, okay, that sounds like he muted himself. But anyways, but yeah, as you told all your clients at Edward Jones, that's a matter of personal preference. But um, but yes, it is a thing where you generally want to go long on the SE picks. And let me tell you guys, like when you use it correctly, it's even better than Honey Badger days.
yep,
A
that's
lot
what
of
I'm
times.
finding.
Yeah. And what I would suggest is, I mean, definitely check out the situation that's causing, definitely check out the situation that's causing the shorting to happen. But a lot of times it's just it's just well, you could kind of see the patterns, but the first thing I would look for is look for hot stocks. Look for stocks that are in the mental space of retail traders. So we're talking things like Nvidia or Tesla. Like if Tesla, like once Tesla shows the SE after this whole big thing where he's calling Trump a pedophile, that's when the smart money's stepping in. And that's yeah, I think once Tesla does show the SE signal, that's going to be a important inflection point because I mean, when you have this much negative sentiment on Tesla, like for somebody to step in and start buying at that point, it really does say something. Let's actually load up some SE charts, Sarah.
Yeah, can you talk about the indicator? Like it's 0.833 and it moves down.
Yeah,
And
that indicator is the percent of, I believe, the total shares outstanding, which are
uh,
short exempt. So we try to kind of normalize it by the shares outstanding, but it's not perfect because, as you know, the float is a little bit different from the shares outstanding, and there's all kinds of different
right,
stuff. But
treasury.
my thinking in making all of these is just like let's just grab some low-hanging fruit, present it to the users, and then move on. Sarah, can we load up a short volume chart, please?
For what ticker?
Tesla,
Okay.
Tesla. And I was actually writing a blog entry about this, but I'll point it out. Like the last time we had them big short exempt bars, boom, it goes up. Let's load up NVIDIA.
And also the time delay. So once it appears, and we've got a huge purple bar
Let's
near
make it a little bit bigger, Sarah.
the last couple of days. How
Uh-huh.
long, I've asked this to the chat today, got some good response. How long does it take typically for these to move? Like little swing trades, 2 days,
Yeah,
eight
so
days?
every stock has a different investor base and a different turnover and churn rate. So the amount of time it takes to digest information on Tesla is going to be very different from like a penny stock. Sarah, mouse over the other two NVIDIA spikes earlier on, like boom, boom. We're talking exact bottoms here. Okay. Um, Mouse over the other one before that, Sarah. Yeah, boom. We're just going to the moon. Okay. And some stocks react better than others, and there's a lot of like long-term flow reasons for why certain stocks react better than others, and it has to do with the the positioning of longer term holders. Because I talk a lot about flow influencing the day trading charts, but flow influences over a longer term period too, but it's just a more well,
Muted effect.
no, it's in some cases it's like an even bigger effect, like we see here on Nvidia, where we get every single bottom demarcated by an SE spike. But but well, it's definitely specific to each ticker. Um,
Oh my God.
and
So I wasn't at my desk and I didn't know anything about this Epstein shit that Elon's throwing around until you just said something. So now I'm catching up and looking at it going, oh my God. Like I
yeah,
cannot believe
it's
it.
it's never a dull moment here in the stock market, and that's why it's fun to play this game with you all. Um, Sarah, check out. Let's load up Starbucks for everybody too. S-Bucks. Something like this.
This.
The SC spikes were very predictive. Boom. And then let's make it bigger. Anyways, what was I saying? I was about to answer a question. Yeah, look at that SE spike. Boom. And also this data is kind of fucked up, but that spike was still very predictive. Um, yeah, Andrew really should fix his data at some point, but it's fine. Anyways, what was I going to say? I was going to say a very important point. What was Jeff's question?
How
Uh,
long does it take?
Yeah.
how long does it
What's
take?
the churn or the delay? So once we see it, once we see purple on
Uh-huh.
SE, and once we
Right.
see the indicators pretty high, 0.833, how long after that? Is it a few days? I
Yeah,
mean,
yeah,
again, it's all different. You answered that, but
yeah.
I find it to be 2 to 8 days. I get when low.
Oh, I remember what I was going to do. Sarah, load up Carvana. So it really depends on the reason for the shorting, right? Because when it comes, like, that's why my initial answer to your question was think about why they're shorting, not just that they're shorting. Because
Right.
the why of why they're shorting, it affects how long the holding period of that short is. And and it's kind of impossible. I mean, I try to. I try to like provide some indication for what kind of people are buying or selling. But even like, like if a day trader wakes up one day and for the past 2 years he's only ever done day trades, right? And I create this beautiful algorithm that flags him and is like, this guy is only gonna he's a paper-handed guy, right? But he could wake up one morning and be like, you know what, fuck this. I'm just gonna buy and hold for 3 months now, right? And there's no way for us sitting behind the computer behind these charts to know if that person is going to right change their behavior was and it's but the only thing we can do is sort of use statistics to sort of guess because in statistics the population converges towards the mean behavior, right? But there's sometimes the people shorting it might even like especially for the penny stocks it might even just be one entity, right? And so that's why the smaller stocks I think don't react as well or as consistently to the short exempt spikes. But I mean, some of the smaller stocks they did really well as well. But anyways, for Carvana, this is the example that I need to give in response to this question, which is Sarah, can you make it kind of big? Yeah. And so we already saw like, recently we had that big Carvana spike, right? But back then, back in 2019, like this stock was trading at like, Sarah, can you check? Can you hover over to see the price?
2019.
No,
It
the
almost went
during
under. Yep.
during the yeah, it almost went bankrupt. Sarah, can you go back to the okay, can you just hover over the bankruptcy. Hover over the large short exempt cluster.
Awesome.
Yeah, the
Yes.
love dip.
There it is.
Yes, now we see the price was like freaking $6, $4. It almost went bankrupt and everybody thought it was going to go bankrupt because everyone was calling it a scam. And who knows? I mean, it probably is a scam. I don't know. But what, but at the same time, we had like probably one of the most humongous short exempt clusters I've ever seen, if not the largest short exempt cluster I've ever seen in all of the short exempt charts. And this short exempt cluster, it actually happened over the course of several months, like even over the course of like an entire year and it led to this insane like humongous it went from being like the worst performing stock to it was like the best performing stock of like the 2023 to 2024 period. um and so that's just an example of just how different the holding periods can be, because especially when you get these like really big funds buying into one idea or another, um, then you get a longer term effect as opposed to if it's just like market makers fading some kind of retail reaction to earnings, right? Because a lot of SE spikes, um, they happen on the day after a bad earnings report. And so that's definitely a pattern that I encourage you to look for.
Got it.
And then it'll gap down. The SE spike will happen, and then the next day you buy after seeing the SE spike, and it runs up. I think Apple has a few examples of this.
Hey, this Carvana example where, it lost like 99% of its value and then it was getting shorted for a long time. I mean, it's so small down there at the bottom, you can't see it, but it looks like it was probably moving 20 to 50% on a daily or a weekly basis way down there in the valley. You just can't see it very well, but
Oh
just
yeah, I mean
high.
definitely. Like that move from 5 to 50 is a 1000% move.
Yeah, it's like you can see right there. It's like exploding actually in that valley.
Yeah.
But is this a situation, I'm kind of like drawing the parallel to United Healthcare, where I mean United Healthcare hasn't fallen anywhere near this much, but in this situation, you're just kind of like, hey, just buy some common shares and hold it forever because, you know, it might do something like this. You might turn 10 grand worth of stock into, 200,000 or something.
Um again, when it comes to the exact instrument that you decide to use, it's a combination of your own personal risk tolerance and your time horizon, as well as uh, the price of the options, which is the Vega. Um, I mean, the price of the risk of the options. So basically, you have to factor in all of the Greeks and match those Greeks with both the situation and your personal preference, which is like this very multi-dimensional thing, and I can't really give you a one size fits all sort of answer to that. But what I will say is that in the case of United Healthcare, the implied volatility was very high. And I'm actually thinking about adding implied volatility to the charts as an indicator. I'm talking about historical implied volatility versus option implied volatility, right? And when the option implied volatility is significantly higher than the historical implied volatility, then you can sort of short those two lines. I mean, you could short the option implied volatility because it's mean reverting, kind of like how VIX is mean reverting. Um, and that's why in the case of United Healthcare, I chose to sell puts. I think the closest analog to United Healthcare would actually be Boeing, because when Boeing first fell, like I was legitimately afraid of that company going bankrupt because it's such a fucking terribly run company. Like it's the fucking worst. They're building these planes that are like crashing and shit and fucking killing people. Who the fuck would want to fly on a Boeing plane, right? But at the same time, it's kind of too big to fail. Oh yeah, was this the Boeing thing, Sarah? Where's
Yeah, I
where's
think
where's the Boeing crash? Was where's the where was the when was the big Boeing crash?
when does anyone know?
Well, it looks
Likely
like
in
it's
around the
right
short
there
examples.
on the right
Yeah,
Right
side.
here, yeah.
Okay. Well, anyways, um, wait, Boeing happened that recently? It happened in 2024? Was that in 2024?
that may have been when
Um,
they beheaded
When
the
the door
whistleblowers.
fell off, right?
Okay. Yeah, well, I don't remember exactly, but I do. But I mean, Boeing is a situation where it's a bit of a longer grind, and eventually it bounces back up. Man, I'm very curious. I'm gonna look this up now.
Yeah, and then they had CEO turnover, right?
Oh yeah, this was in 2018 and 2019. This is when the planes actually crashed, was in 2018, 2019.
oh,
Um,
Oh,
so
no,
so yeah, just hover over that area. It doesn't have to be a SE spike area.
oh, there you go.
Wait, is
oh,
that
that's not 2018 to 2019. Oh, this is
yeah,
where
yeah.
it
Oh yeah. So
collapses.
okay, yeah. So I guess that's the big scandal, right? And that's also COVID at the same time.
Oh yeah, that's COVID.
Quite the straight down right there, isn't it?
Wait, wait, what's that SE spike before that? The other one.
This one?
Yeah. Okay. I
Nothing
don't know.
there.
I don't remember exactly, but I remember that
Between March and August of 19, it lost 25%.
Right. This one might just be COVID where everything crashed for
yeah,
a
yeah.
month.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, I guess
Well,
that would be here March to August.
okay. Well, maybe I'm confusing it or
There's
something
this.
or the other. But I
Oh,
remember when Boeing was trading at 200 something, it was a grind to get out of that. But eventually it went back up. Um, yeah. Wow. Yeah, I remember COVID was a real crazy time for the everything airplane related too. Yeah, Boeing all went below 100 and then went all the way back to 250. Anyways, um, Boeing is I think the most appropriate analog for United Healthcare, but then there are times when it bounces back a lot more quickly too. Like what was that one recently? It escapes
hmm.
me
Is
now.
is UNH really as poorly run as Boeing was?
No, especially with the new guy
Yeah,
coming back. Yeah.
right.
But I
So
mean, at the same time, it's like with Boeing, the government is on their side, and with UNH,
That's a
The
good
gov
point.
the government's leaning against them.
And there's not really any way to quantify that. I mean, I guess you could look at the contracts and say, but you don't know for certain if they're going to pull the plug on Medicaid or not. So it's a hard bet to make.
Yeah, I mean, like, definitely you can build a model and like, decision tree with outcomes and stuff like that. But yeah, a lot of it depends on these decisions made by the politicians and what kind of wheeling and dealing they can do in Congress. Um,
Yeah. I mean, they were cutting Medicaid, Medicare, but not, I don't think anything too crazy, because of the politics.
right, and
But
and there is this whole too big to fail aspect of it too. And
yeah, it's just a lot of customers for UNH that they would lose, and then
yeah, I
they
mean,
would end up
they
having
would
to raise prices and
right. They would
making it real
respond
messy.
by either raising prices or just noping out of there, which would be really bad. So I'm sure the government's gonna be talking directly to UNH for those kinds of negotiations. They don't want some kind of systemic instability in the healthcare market. But while we're on this chart, wow, would you look at that SC spike, right? Like when you see that kind of a humongous cluster, we're talking like a once in a lifetime opportunity. Okay. So the next time COVID happens, just remember SE spikes. Let's go. Uh, and anyways, but back to Apple. Let's load up Apple again because I was telling Jeff, hey Jeff, are you even still here?
No, he waved off, said thanks for answering his question on SE.
Okay. Well, the SE question was asked inside of inside the chat too, right? By other people.
Yeah, there are a few questions on SC, so it's good that we're
Wait, actually,
covering it.
are they all from Jeff?
We're very interested in what you're saying.
Oh, okay. All right, fine. Yeah, so like check out this Apple gap down and rally. Sarah, can you hover over the large SE spike? Nope, the larger one. Although that one's predictive too. So yeah, um that is, can you zoom in a little bit so we could see it better? Why does it say Ben S on there?
I know.
So,
One.
Tay, just to let you know, on the left of your screen, above the microphone button, there's an annotate button that's like a little green pencil. So I have to use this all the time for my job, right? So you click the annotate button, and then I can come up here and I can draw on stuff, right?
Okay,
And you
wait,
can
so
limit it.
wait,
You can
where
limit it. You see it? Okay.
no,
Or
where do I
sorry.
go? There's my picture and then what?
So no. On the left where it has the microphone at the left bottom corner, right?
Uh-huh.
You can also limit it to just have one
I don't see
person
no
have that control.
annotate.
It's kind of here. Let me send a
No,
screenshot.
no,
Give
I
me one
cl I
second.
clicked I clicked this audio button with a little
No,
little
no, not no. It's above it. It's above it. So the
Oh, I see it. I
audio,
see it. I see it. Woo!
yeah,
Yeah, okay.
yeah. So that way, because it's hard to communicate when you're staring at a chart where there's a lot of different information. The little arrow helps a lot when you're trying to point at somebody. And if you want to clear off that stuff, yeah, you just hit the clear my
I
drawings button. So mess
okay.
around with it, have fun. I hope it helps.
All right. But Sarah's hover is very important here because I can't draw a super straight line.
Yeah. And you could just draw an arrow and say hover this.
Yeah,
Yeah.
so it looks like yeah, it looks like it was a bad earnings and it gapped down and the SE spike was on the day of earnings. And the next day you still get like a nice little dip there, and you can still ride the rally back up. Now let's look at the next Apple spike, which I imagine is probably another earnings. Yeah, so the next day we had this super big gap down right here, and then we rally up.
I
So
think that was
yeah.
Liberation Day, honestly.
Oh, okay. Yeah.
So
Sounds
on
sounds right.
something
Yeah.
simple like earnings, we can expect this kind of behavior, but something more complicated like news, it's not that straightforward. That's how I'm kind of reading this.
Um,
Well, Liberation Day was news.
yeah. Yeah. I mean, it depends on the kind of news.
Are you talking about the noise that you can kind of see in there where it's not quite a straight line? I mean, that's just the stock market in general, but it does have a pretty good uptrend. but it
Anyways,
is
I don't
noisier than other
I
examples.
don't fully understand the question. Earnings are a form of news, and all all news is uh is like multidimensional across the human reality, including earnings. Like we could have an earnings where the revenue was good, but the profit is bad, or we can have earnings where the revenue is good, but the profit was bad due to one-time expenses that will not happen again, or like there's an infinite depth of complexity there. We could even have earnings where the profits are great and the revenue is great, but then something else happens, like the CEO could have a heart attack on the earnings call, and then none of the transcripts will show that. None of the AI algorithms will pick up on that. And and then and then it's only up to the humans to react to that. So there's all kinds of stuff that could happen. Um,
Tay, specifically the one that's, I guess, top right now, NVTS.
yeah.
Um,
Yeah, I don't know much about the company. I feel like they do some kind of power component for the data centers,
Hey, can
right?
you delete your little circle?
Oh,
Thank you.
I think the news was something like Nvidia is got a deal, with
yeah,
them.
yeah, I know, but I this is also like a very small company relative to the other large caps that we were just looking at.
Yeah.
So I wouldn't be as uh gung ho about the SE for companies this
Yeah.
small. But at the same time, you also get like a much larger opportunity for profit too, because it's small cap and it's so volatile, and you get some very big percentage numbers in the movements.
Hey, this is pretty interesting today. That car,
All
EAR.
right, Sarah, I think the
Hmm.
chat is complaining about stuff, so can you skim the chat and tell me what their issue is?
Um,
Or should I read the
I
chat?
think people want to move on to the next topic.
Yeah, like
Hey,
smart
can
Oh,
I
contract.
ask one,
Yeah.
I was
Yeah,
just making a
this is a
comment
democracy,
about.
guys. You guys can say whatever you want.
can I get one more about SE before we move on?
Okay.
The week of May 15th, UNH shows pretty good SE.
Uh-huh.
Just wondered your thoughts on that.
Well, I traded that. That was I remember when
Dave called it
Dave
out. Yeah.
Yeah, Dave called it
Oh
out,
yeah.
and he that morning I said, "Das hot." That's literally what I
Yep.
wrote. And then
Yeah.
that morning I said, "I'm not even." I remember it was a honey badger too. I said, "I'm not even going to trade this badgerish day because I've got all of my focus on UNH right now." And I was very gung ho, like constantly, like pounding the table
But
on
expecting more follow through.
yeah, yeah. And this was um Sarah, can you hover over the lowest day of UNH? I believe that was it. Yeah, yeah. This was in the like two this was in the 250 to 270 range that I was pounding the table on UNH. And it was my biggest trade of the year. I made hundreds of thousands of dollars from this trade across me and my client accounts.
And I
So,
made
Damn,
thousands of
I don't
dollars
even
too.
get like $100 tip or anything. So
So, so Ty,
I I believe like I said also in the morning there was like M bar.
I'll literally Venmo you $100 right now. I'm serious. Like I'm very appreciative of that tip.
Yeah, yeah. You talked
Ty,
about it in official T-Rex too.
I think there's another aspect of BS that I combined into this, which was I looked at the M bars coming into that morning too, and it was very indicative of they were pointing up and the price action was really tight pre-market. So I even said in the channel,
Dave, what's your Venmo? I'm gonna Venmo you right now.
I'll DM you.
Yeah, DM it to
Um,
him. You have to say it out loud.
so I was saying because it was trading around 277 or something, or 280, I think, or 290. And I was like, wait for it to drop to like 265, 270.
And that was the morning that Swedish Prick had played a bunch of puts that night and made 8 grand off $100.
Oh, wow. I didn't know that either. But yeah, I was like, yeah, it's gonna drop in the mornings. I was like calling out, like, don't just go in right away. Like, let it drop, you know.
Sarah,
And
can you, as the moderator, sort of like get a gauge for what the chat wants? Because I feel like the chat
Oh
is
yeah,
this like
Yeah,
I
I
remember
think
this.
people
There's
wanna
there's
move
there's
on.
one person being very vocal in the chat about them wanting to see something else, and I guess we
Yeah.
have looked at short exempt for a long time, but
Okay,
it's
yeah,
just one person.
Martian.
let's move on. Let's go to Mars.
see
Mars
Mars, if
said
you just had the balls to speak into the mic, we
I
wouldn't even
know we
this wouldn't even be a
prioritize the
problem.
out loud questions over the chat questions, but we can go to the chat. So Mars, all these questions are for short exempt, so I feel like we hit that. Mars said, I have two questions. One, level two, does BS essentially make level two kind of useless or not as impactful? And two, the dark pool black dots, it can be buy or sell, right? We just don't know. Mm.
Dave, I didn't get a DM from you on Discord.
You want it right now? Okay.
Yeah, I want it right now.
All right.
Whereas so Sarah, something about level two what makes level two useless?
Level two, does BS essentially make level two kind of useless or not as impactful?
Why? What's the logic behind that? Why would it make level two
Could you
useless?
share your logic behind that, Mars, in the chat? And then while we wait for him to explain that logic, his second question was the dark pool black dots. It can be buy or sell, right? We just don't know.
Isn't it both by
So
definition?
it's both. Yeah. So those are transactions. So
Yeah.
there are buyers and sellers to every transaction. So every dot that you see has a buyer and a seller. Number three, if possible, can Tay pull up Tesla chart today and just kind of talk through it? Were there any strong signals not too long? So I'll pull up Tesla now.
Hey, this is you at like the some kind of historical site, right, Dave?
Um, sorry, what now?
Your icon in Venmo, you're at some it looks like there's some kind of historical shit going on in the background.
Oh, that's I think me and my girlfriend. Oh
Okay,
no,
but it's
that's
you.
yeah,
This is
that's
your I
Sevilla.
I
That's
just want to make sure this is you.
yeah. That's a picture of me in Spain. Yep.
Okay.
So
Okay,
All right.
so he wanted to know if there were any signals on Tesla to make it seem like it wouldn't be good
And
too
Jesse,
long.
and you're wearing pink shorts or something, right? Just I know I'm sending you $1,000 right now. I want to make sure it's to the right
oh my
place.
God,
Oh
you're the
my
man.
gosh.
It's pink shorts, right?
It's me sitting down and there's like looks
Your
like
shorts are red, right? Or
yeah, they're
pink?
red. There's an
Okay.
icon covering up my body so I can't see.
You're setting
Okay.
a
Boom.
dangerous
Yeah, I
precedent
got
here,
it. You're the
Tay.
man. You are the man. Okay,
Yeah.
thank you. Appreciate that.
Yeah.
Dangerous precedent. Okay, let's
No,
get to this
I want
question.
people to know that if you give me a trade where I make hundreds of thousands of dollars, I will absolutely Venmo you. Okay? It's like it is I love those trades. Please bring them to me. Don't be shy.
He bought his
Okay.
house in Puerto Rico with that.
You heard it here, folks. You're here first. Okay.
I
Okay.
think the
So
biggest
So
thing
this
on
is
this
Tesla.
chart is price action that would keep me from going long.
what?
Yeah, so
On that Tesla chart,
look at the Tesla chart, Tay.
Wait, I thought I was getting some bullshit question about level two. What happened to that question?
I'm waiting for Mars to explain it, but
Okay.
I'm
All
going
right,
through
Tesla
to his
question.
second question. Yeah.
Let's get to this Tesla question.
Talk through it and what were, if any, strong signals to not go long, as we know it's probably a short trend.
Um,
So,
well, I mean, for me personally, I was thinking about shorting Tesla even back when they were like when it was in like 350 or something. So you also have to like have even if you're not a value investor, you have to have some sort of understanding of valuation. And you know, I've like really, as you guys probably know, I've really dived deep into Tesla's valuation. I've just spreadsheeted the fuck out of this thing. And so in the 350 range, like I always felt Robotaxi would be a bit of a disappointment, even though the technology is very good and better than Waymo's. Um, and uh, and so that's just something to keep in mind. But in terms of the flows and the intraday stuff, well, the I I f- I feel like Tesla has always been kind of Momo driven intraday, Ben says it's way more better. Yeah, I feel like so Tesla moves differently from SPY, and every single symbol it moves differently. Like the flow to price relationship for every ticker is different from other tickers. So you kind of have to just kind of go back historically and get a gauge of how certain stocks respond to flows. And Tesla is one that I've actually mentioned this in the Discord multiple times that Tesla tends to be a lot more Momo driven than other stocks. With that said, I mean, it is very much this Ninja Star situation where like I mean I wish I could make this Ninja Star video for you. Matt gave up on it because Google VO just isn't able to do it, but I might actually hire somebody on Upwork to make this Ninja Star video. But like if this is the ask, right? And like this is the bid, and there's like this fucking Ninja Star just rotating, right? And the rotational force is the speed of the bar, is the size of the bar. You know, that's what the Ninja Star is. This diagram is going to get like terrible, I think. But I mean, like imagine it goes to the ask, right? And it's just grinding against the ask, right? And let's say the ask starts from 133, and then every time the Ninja Star hits the ask, it grinds down to like a hundred. It grinds down like one number point for right, and then let's say it hits the ask 33 times, and then we get like 100, right? But at the same time, like let's say the bid started at 77, and because you're grinding against the ask, it causes the bid to go.
All that you don't want to.
Can you mute
Oh,
yourself when
okay.
he's talking now?
You're
Yeah.
Who is that?
Are you kidding me? Oh,
I'm
Jesus
not
Christ.
kidding you. This is actually how the market
Right.
works.
no,
Yeah.
somebody's just talking, man. So, question on this. So the star, the Ninja Star, is representing orders as they get filled. Is that what I'm to understand here?
It's representing orders as they are being sent, as they are being launched from the keyboards of retail traders.
Okay. So the
And the
order,
process of the order being
mhm.
filled is a different process.
Okay. So basically this, you're saying that these orders that are being launched, they hit these ask and bids. So these orders enter the order books. Is that what the ask and bid are
No,
representing here?
they get executed.
Okay.
Um, but
So executed versus filled, there's a difference there. I won't dive into that
no,
because that'll get us
it's
off
not
track.
that is a difference.
Oh,
It's
okay.
but it's your phrasing of the initial question where you asked about the Ninja Star. The Ninja Star in particular is the sending of the orders, but the collision between the Ninja Star and the pad, the pad on the top or the bottom, the ask or the bid, the collision is what causes the fill and the execution, which is the same thing.
Okay.
Yeah.
Gotcha. So you're talking more of like a of a weight that it has. So would it be better, or so at least in my mind, how I'm imagining it is like a scale. So you're seeing people fill a scale, and as it fills more, more dumps into it. Like say, for example, it's almost like two water bottles on the edge of the scale, and each is lying horizontal. And as one fills up, more water rushes in.
Okay,
Like there's
I'm
like
getting
the
more confused
momentum.
now. Can you let me
Okay.
finish my analogy first?
Yeah,
Right,
Yeah.
new
yes.
Yes.
analogies.
Let's
Okay,
hear Tay's point of view.
please.
Okay. So, so every time the Ninja Star hits the ask and grinds against the ask, it it reduces this number right here, which is, I guess, a number of like structural integrity, like a toughness value of the ask. And then so it causes the ask to go down to 100, and it becomes structurally less tough. But simultaneously, when whenever the ask goes down, the toughness of the bid the real toughness of the bid, not the displayed toughness of the bid, but the real toughness of the bid increases by that same very amount. So what does 77 become? Anybody? It goes down from 33 to 100. So 77 becomes
100 because it's taking those 33, but it's
no, it
increasing by that
becomes
amount.
no, it becomes 110.
77 plus. Oh yeah, you're right. I'm doing math wrong. But
Yeah,
it is adding that 33 to that
yeah.
77.
So the bid becomes stronger when the ask becomes weaker. And that is because market makers only ever enter trades based on, well, not only ever. Let's not say that. But their primary function is to post a bid and ask. And and um and so the Ninja Star will grind against the ask, right? And the market makers can then move the ask upwards to a new ask, right? And they simultaneously move the bid upwards to a new bid. And then the Ninja Star is still like, ricocheting in between these two, right? And and that's the thing is that there's a lot of moving parts here. There's the Ninja Star movements, there's the bid and the ask movement, and then there's the actual inventory, which is the size of the the real true size of the bid and the ask on the market maker side, because market makers are striving to be neutral. And so when they have supply side inventory, then they're gonna push push these down. I don't have any room left, but you guys can imagine they push down both pads and they force that Ninja Star to go down and hit the bid again because they need to refill the ask. And when it hits the bid, it refills their ask. Um, yeah, I mean, I hope if anything that this explanation, even though it might be confusing, I hope it has stimulated you all intellectually because this is a beautiful thing that uh, that I'm
Uh,
very proud of figuring out.
Tay,
Tay,
got a
Yes.
question.
Tay, I'm a new user, Egon Spin. I was just wondering, so is this like a conservation? It sounds like a conservation principle, like conservation momentum or energy. Is that sort of how you describe how the Ninja Star is causing the asks or the bid to always
Well,
conserve the
I
price
don't
action?
I don't know none of them fancy terminologies because I don't come from a STEMmy background like that. I was an economics major.
Okay.
Yeah, so what do you mean by conservation principle?
Well, in energy conservation, for instance, there's zero sum gain in the system. So if you have an increase in potential energy and you go up to a hill and then you jump off the hill and are a lemming, then you transfer your energy into the movement, right? And you'll deplete your potential energy once you
Well, that's
completely hit the floor.
that's it sounds like it's kind of similar, but you also have to understand that the source of the energy here is the Ninja Star, which is the retail traders. And this bid
Mhm.
and the ask, their purpose is to extract as much energy, aka dollars, from the Ninja Star as possible. So,
Okay.
so I don't know if your model includes this sort of intentional manipulation of the boulder to extract gravitational force from it or something.
Okay, so it's sort of like dissipating from the Ninja Star continually.
I,
Yeah, yeah. The people get their paychecks, they deposit their paychecks, they put in the brokerage account, and then it dissipates that way.
I,
Yeah.
I may
Okay.
have missed this in the beginning because I stepped away to go celebrate the $1,000, but um, how how do I trade this? I mean, are we talking about how to get a fill, or are we talking about how this dictates which way the bar is going to go? Um, what do I how do I use this in order
Knowledge.
to not get trapped? Because I mean, normally when I get hosed, it's within the 5 minute time frame.
This
So
is
yeah.
Wait, sorry, say it again. How do you not get trapped when what?
Oh, I'm saying, how do I use this to trade? Because I think normally when I get hosed, it's within probably 2 or 3 minutes, and I get the sense that when you make money, Tay, it's usually within 1 to 3 minutes. Like it's very fast. So I'm assuming that what you're talking about has to do with how to kind of predict mid-bar which way things are going to go in the next 3 to 5 minutes or 1 to 5 minutes, And I'm just not sure how to interpret this and use the indicators to not get trapped going the wrong way.
Well, I mean, so what it boils down to is just what's taught in the Getting Started guide, right? It's just SmartFlow, NOF, and MomoFlow. Actually, SmartFlow is not even in the Getting Started guide because it's a little bit too complex. Um, because sometimes it's directional and sometimes it's mean reverting, but usually, but yeah, I mean, like on Spy, I mark up the diagrams all the time. I post my my trade times and everything. Um, because with SPY, the market makers are very strong because there's a lot of mean reversion on SPY, right? Like there's not a lot that can make SPY move the way that Tesla moved today. And that's why the market makers are a lot more confident and the liquidity is a lot thicker for SPY.
Hey, Tate, basing it off of that mean revision story, Sarah, do you mind pulling up the SPY chart? This is Prawn, by the way. Hello.
Hello. So I think you have to delete all your scrolls, Tay.
Okay, so I just click this X
Click.
button. No, that's not right.
The garbage button. So it's like
Gar oh, there you
There you
go.
go.
fourth or fifth at
Yeah,
the bottom. Yeah.
it's clear.
All right.
So
That's my chart.
right around 12, that second dip we had there, a little bit later. Yeah, right there. Sorry, I don't know what the time was. I asked you during the chat, and I just, I timed my entry to get in around that red bar, which is when Momo's buying and Smart is selling, right? Because those two pink bars prior were actioning that this is actually kind of bullish. But I waited to time my entry to see if like Moth would curl up and if I saw something different in Momo, right? So when that happened, I got in on my long. Obviously, as always, I sell too quickly, but that's fine. I had to jump on a call, made some money. So you mentioned something about mean revision theory about that. I still not following exactly what you meant.
Mean revision
Mean
theory? Oh,
reversion, you mean?
So
reversion.
so
Reversion, apologies. Yeah.
What did I say about mean reversion?
Let me go to the chat here and check here.
I think this is referring to what you were saying earlier about there being different ways that it behaves in different situations. So sometimes it's the inverse, sometimes it was mean reversion. I think that's what I remember
Oh,
hearing.
okay, yeah. Um, so okay, so back to this thing, right? Like if if the like let's say the bid is very strong,
Yep.
right? And let's say that the ask is very weak. And in this situation, this would be like this would be a squeeze situation, right? So like this is the rarest of the situations. I don't know. I wonder if I'm getting a little too technical for you guys. I wonder if maybe we could go back to this after we answer some simpler questions because I think if I explain this in depth, all the new users are going to be very turned off
Yeah,
because
I think getting to the simple questions and getting to the chat questions is probably a good idea
Yeah,
because they're
no
kind
worries.
of
Hang
stacking
on.
up.
Yeah.
In that case, I have a simple question. Can you explain regression to the mean and how you can tell that a stock movement is part of that?
um okay,
Like
so
like when is it like what conditions establish that this is a regression to the mean?
um like if there's three kinds. I teach this in my chart game class, so you guys are getting a little bit for free here. But there's three kinds of movements in the market, which is uh um range bound, uptrending, and downtrending. And inside of range-bound stuff, it's going to go like this. Inside of uptrending stuff, it's going to go like this. Inside of downtrending channel, it's going to go like this. And so reversion to the mean is just kind of the center of
Mm.
that movement because I mean the whoever the physics guy was, he could probably explain it better, but there's this noisy shit along the way of the actual movement. Like like um like I could be driving my car on the freeway, but I can't drive it perfectly straight, so it's going to swerve a little bit on the way. But still, the everybody knows that I am going northbound on the I-5, and likewise, um, when you when you see these patterns, especially over longer time frames, um, the mean reverting pattern would be this one, right? And the momentum pattern would be this one.
So
So you see
mean
one
reversion. So
mean
just to make sure I understand, mean reversion means towards the center, right? Or towards the
the mean
half?
towards
Yeah.
towards
Okay.
the moving average by
Moving average.
sure,
Okay.
sure.
So I would
I would
usually use
I
like
wouldn't
VWAP or something for that. I would. I mean,
yeah, there are these estimations of it, and VWAP is a very good one. But like the real the real thing behind the real concept, but I mean, so VWAP and moving averages, they're just an approximation, right? The real concept is the actual human emotion underpinning that VWAP. So
Mm.
like for example, like today on Tesla, Elon's calling Trump a pedophile, and there's this wave of human emotion, just like all of our brains are lighting up across the United States as we sit in front of the computer in front of these stock charts, right? And it is that wave, that that chemical reaction that's happening inside of our bodies, our brain and our endocrine systems. That's the real that's the real trend. And the VWAP is kind of like this lagged approximation of that.
Okay. So it's, I mean, like it's a historical measure of how people are feeling about something. I mean, that's with the stock price in general, right? So you're saying like this center line is the main, like what the 50% of the people feel like any percent of the time about the stock, kind of is
Uh,
an approximation of what you're saying here.
yes, but it's more complex than that, which is why
Mm.
I'm really harping on the fact that the feelings are not the flows, and the feeling is not definitely the feeling is not the price, and the flow is a little closer to the feeling than the price, but neither of them is exactly the feeling. And the reason for that is that the majority of market participants don't participate in the market simultaneously. Like if you think about all of the dollars held by all the people, think of the entire shareholder base of Tesla, right?
Mm.
Think of Kathy Wood, think of Eugene, think of, all you fuckers. And there's people who are not in front of the computer at that time. And there's people who also are very slow moving, right? Like Kathy Wood, who knows? Maybe she's not even at work today. Maybe she's just on vacation. And then she gets the call and then she thinks about it like while sipping her pina colada and she's like, that's pretty shitty, you know? And it takes some time. And then there's like this lag effect. And that's why but that feeling is, of course, gonna be relative to the price. So like if Tesla's already down 20%, or actually, in my opinion, if it's already back to 250 or something, then that's when Kathy might go to work the next day and be like, well, it's already down a lot. So so human feeling is the real trend line, and the delta between the price and the human feeling is what we aim to exploit.
Okay.
Nice.
Gotcha. And a lot of
Okay,
that
I think
delta, oh, sorry, we're out of time. I was just going to ask about market makers and how they figure into that, but that can be for another time.
yeah, I think we
Yeah.
should get to
There-
we'll get to the chat questions because I think people have been
yeah,
patiently
it's
waiting.
tough because we do have to get to the newbie questions, and I'm very passionate about the intellectual questions, but I think
Yeah, I think once we're done with all the chat questions, then we can start getting into like the
all
big
right, Sarah, you're the
theoretical
moderator.
stuff at
You
the
you
end.
you lead it. Just
Okay.
Sarah,
like
So
real,
Alan asked
did
an
you just
hour
mute
ago.
did you just mute Ben, Sarah?
No, no, I didn't mute anyone.
Okay,
I'm
I
reading the
muted
chat.
myself. Yeah.
okay.
Alan said, looking at May 23rd, Tay, we see NOF going down, SF green, Momo bars pointing up. I'm going to load it up here, May 23rd.
Is this for SPY?
I believe this question is for SPY. Yep.
Okay.
Yeah, NOF going down, Momo bars, SF green, Momo bars pointing up, dark pools above. How would you trade this day when price seems to be doing the opposite of what the indicators say? What trades would you take and why?
Was
And I
this a
do
honey
think
badger
this
day?
day was either badgerish or a honey badger day.
Yeah, this was a honey badger day, I believe.
Yeah,
Um,
let's double check.
Are you talking about today? It was a badgerish day.
No,
we're talking about the 23rd.
Oh,
the
okay.
23rd. So then that would be the signal on the 22nd, 63, 64. So like badgerish borderline
Yeah,
honey
it
badger.
was almost the honey badger day, yeah.
Yeah. So yeah, he's asked, what trades would you take and why?
Okay. I remember I traded this day, but I don't remember exactly what what trades I did. But definitely because it's the honey badger day, I'm not very not tempted to short. Um, although the opening is always going to be like this volatile thing where I'm probably the most tempted to short in the opening because that's the pent up pressure and blah blah. I sound like a broken record. But one thing that I do I do talk about sometimes is how a lot of times the first bar sets the tone for the rest of the day. Not always, but if you look back historically on SPY, the first Momo bar, it definitely exerts some sort of effect. So there's that. But um, but yeah, I mean, I think, and and there's still like knowing it's a honey badger day, there's still like local bottoms and stuff, you know, and um, and these DPs they really sort of create a lot of resistance to the up move as well. And so it's very much a matter of like a couple forces um really colliding. You know, I mean,
Yeah.
we still have a lot of the same predictive behavior here, whereas the negative flow results in more of a rally than, for example, like this positive flow, right? You get more down here.
Hmm. And I would
And
say like price action too, right? We're like kind of like moving up. And I remember trading this day, and because it's badgerish, I'm looking for opportunities to long. I think I went long around here for a little bit, but I was more scalping because yeah, these DPs above and stuff are also scary.
and keep in mind, like, you know, Nof Nofa is like relatively flat during this entire time.
Yeah.
And and if anything, it's a little bit increasing here.
I
But
think I
Yeah.
think one of the things that might be a little misleading for newbies when you look at a chart like this, I'll include myself, even though I'm not quite a noob, but like we look at a whole chart and we kind of see all these bars going everywhere. But when it's happening in real time, of course, all you see is the ones behind you, and um, you're talking about a trade that you might do very quickly, like 5 minutes. So you're really just looking to hit that one bar. But I mean, there might be some trades where you say, hey, I just know it's going to trend the other day. You like to sell the put spreads, Tay. Like there's that trade too. But the ones where you're usually making money in the morning, it's like a 5 minute trade, right? I mean, you're in and out of there very quick, sometimes 20, 30 seconds. Like you get in right before the bar bursts up and then you're out. Um, so like on that sort of time scale, when you're just like zooming in onto one bar with the Momo bars underneath it and the NOF, it's like what exactly in that second by second are you triggering? Because you're very patient, Tay, right? Like this is part of my problem is
I'm
I
very impatient.
oh, you are you?
Yeah, I close my trades way too fast all the time.
Well, I'm
And
impatient about getting in. So I'll like basically anything that glitters is gold for me. Like, oh, that looks good, boom. You
well,
know?
then just be more picky about your entries then. Easy.
Right. So like that's what I'm trying to ascertain here, and this I think is good for the group too, is like what
Well, just
level of criteria do I need to be like, okay, though this is actually good enough to go in, you know?
some of it, I mean, the easy way, like, I guess the easy practical way is like kind of with poker. It just takes some experience and it just becomes reflexive. Like like just associate it with an emotion. Humans remember better when they're in a heightened emotional state. So associate a certain feeling of stretchedness, right? So like here we have like a few bars of down and we have this, and you can be like, okay, this is like a moderate feeling of stretchedness. This is not like some kind of crazy bottom falling out thing. But at the same time, it's a honey badger day, and so we're supposed to go up, and we're also uptrending in general, right? And we're kind of near the bottom of this trend. And as I say in the help guide, price is the number one indicator that you should be looking at. And then so it's just you just kind of it's just like a pattern recognition thing where you just get a sense of how extreme something is. So first you identify that you're in this slightly uptrendy channel, and you identify that it's this particular time of day, and you identify that there are these indicators moving in these directions. And very importantly, it's pretty much almost a honey badger day. It's like less than half uh, a basis point away from being a honey badger day, or not a basis
And
point, just
some
half a
days
point.
just follow the signals much better than other days.
I mean, today there were some, I mean, there's always like this, like
I mean,
you'll
I
see
don't
that.
see I don't see this as a day where it didn't really follow the signals. I mean, we do have this big this big thing right here, right? But then it matches up with this 3 bar decline right here. But this bar and this bar, which are the biggest Momo bars of the entire day, at least until the close, these two bars are the biggest bars of the day, and they're both spot on. Like this was beautiful. Like this would have been such a fun trade for me. In fact, I think I did trade the first bar because this Momo bar was so bullish. And it was perfectly aligned with the smart, which created the pink and the teal too. So I don't even consider this to be an unpredictive day. Like we even see smart tally here going into the negative. We see Momo tally here getting really low, getting really close to zero. And yet it's a honey badger day. And so we get this short covering and it goes up. And I mean, it's also like a opening range breakout at this point or something too, right?
Mhm.
Or that was a
I
oh,
think we got it like earlier,
oh,
like
did
it
we?
lingered and then
15,
it
30,
fell
4,
out.
5, 1 or yeah, yeah. So actually maybe this was the opening range breakout. But yeah, um yeah, I don't consider this to be that unpredictive. I mean,
I see someone asked, did you mean you wanted to switch to ultra flow on this date, Esmata?
did I mean? I
No,
never
no,
really
Esmata said
oh,
something. Okay. So now someone asked to switch to ultra flow for this day.
oh, okay. May
So ultra
23rd.
flow on the 23rd.
Okay, just so you know, I don't really know how to use Ultraflow very well. I
Yeah,
I
I told him.
I almost
Yeah,
never
I
have
don't
it open.
I only use it for sim search really,
Yeah.
but it's open.
Yeah, and we also have, wait, is this the same VWAP that's on Spy? Can we go back
Indeed.
to can we yeah. You could even open a new tab to make it easy to switch in between. But oh yeah, the VWAP is also very indicative here too. Like it never goes below the VWAP. But yeah, I don't really know how to commentate on the Ultraflow. I mean, I'm
Looks the same.
sure it's valuable somehow.
Okay, should we go to the next question?
Esmada says that the NOF was flipped super bearish, but price kept going up on the ultra flow chart.
Can we go back to the Ultraflow chart, Sarah? And is this Martian right now, Sarah? Can we check?
Uh,
Nope, it's not.
well,
What does Martian mean?
Martian is the user that found this specific indicator.
Oh,
this
okay.
version of
He received an
Nav.
honorary membership designation as a result of it.
Okay, good to know.
Like, good to know. Okay. But yeah.
So there it is.
Whoop, there it is.
So
All right, next question or
he's saying that if it flipped super bearish, but price kept going up. What I see
Are we talking about
actually,
here?
yeah, no, wait, is it
yeah, where's the bearish flip?
where are you talking about, Esmada, that it flipped super bearish?
Are they responding? Sorry, I'm scrolled up to
No,
read
I'm
questions.
looking at the chat right now. It hasn't
Yeah,
responded yet.
nothing yet.
And also this happened in Power Hour too. So there's a lot of shit happening in Power Hour.
Yeah,
A lot of big money stepping in.
we always
So
warn users don't trade power hour.
except
I
for
never did.
except for you, Joe. Please trade Power Hour from now on.
I think they could just be saying that NAFA, right? It's just negative. It's sloping down while price is sloping up. Maybe they were referring to that by super bearish.
Yeah, but the thing is that it does go negative in the beginning of the day, but it stays pretty flat until like a little bit more to the right. Yeah, and it starts going down a little bit there, and the price starts going down with it, and then yeah, and then it goes
And
up,
it
and the
goes
price
up.
starts going up again, and then Nova starts kind of trending up while the price is going up. So it looks fine to me.
And of course, on that day, you could trade the ORB.
Oh, Smada said the first big put buy and call sale, the diamond.
Yeah, it looks like the diamond made it go down.
Yeah.
But keep in mind that as we're having this diamond, we're also having this actually, sorry, this is not SSR rated, so what do I fucking know? But we're having like conflicting signals too. And keep in mind this is the open. So we open up and then we get this put buying, right? And the put buying is it does have an influence. It does cause this little 15-minute downtrend from the second bar to the third bar, right? So it causes that downtrend because keep in mind that this bar actually started green. The second bar was like there, right?
Mm.
And it was green at one point, but it's going down from the high of the second bar. So we have this 15-minute downtrend. But the important thing is that the price didn't go down that much, which means it's being absorbed by a different force. And that force is probably the Badger.
Yeah. And
Okay.
John said, this looks like a do not trade day for me. Are people trading every day off this, or I would move on to another stock?
Well,
Um,
if it's a honey badger day, if it's a
yeah,
4.5, then you should probably trade it. You should probably like be long bias on a day like that.
yeah,
Um,
that's where I was. I was
and
just
even
looking for
even
long
today,
opportunities.
yeah, even today, I mean, there was really quite a bit of badger strength towards the end there, and not a doubt in my mind, if it wasn't for Tesla, if it wasn't for Elon and Trump's spat, we definitely would have had a successful badgerish day today.
Oh, can you delete your? Yeah, there you go.
Yeah. So yeah, like what was
Yeah,
it was this 596 something. Like this is the line, right? This is what denotes a successful honey badger day, something like there.
yeah, something like
Yeah,
that. And we
and
did
like
hit it like just a little before we got to the last 2 hours of
yeah, but
trading,
we're
but then
supposed to
that
hit it
news hit.
sometime in this power hour, and we got really close. Like and again like this, well, yeah, I don't know, but like Tesla's effect on the market, it's like it okay, so the math is something like this. Tesla is 2% of the S&P 500. So if Tesla goes down 10%, it has a 0.2% drag on the SPY. Um, but it went down more than 10%, obviously.
Like
So
15.
yeah, if it goes down
15, yeah.
15%, then it has a 0.3% drag. And it also has an outsized effect on the SPY's volatility. So that gets factored into uh, the the stat arb between SPY and VIX as well. So it's like this complicated machinery where a lot of different parts influence each other. But yeah, if not
Cool.
for Elon and Trump, then we would have had a successful Badgerish day.
Can I,
Okay.
can I just interject really quickly? As a noob, what is power hour? And I've heard it a few times. And how do you indicate when you're in power hour?
Well, Power Hour is the last hour of the day, and that's all there is to it.
Oh,
The
okay. Well,
last
that's
hour of
easy.
trading. Yeah.
Yeah, our
Okay.
charts literally will warn you saying power hour.
Yeah.
Okay, good to know. Okay.
Okay, so next question. I've heard someone mention that DP indicators on the bars should be ignored. Does that apply for wicks as well?
Um, there are some situations where I find the Wick DPs to be quite good.
For me,
Um,
it's more usually when they're grouped together.
where the Wick DPs are grouped together.
Yeah, like one after another. Then I feel like they have a lot more strength.
Hmm. Yeah, I'm not sure. Yeah, I haven't studied it deeply, but I do get a sense that they do something. I just don't really, I just haven't really looked into it too deeply.
Okay, so next question. People are talking about your short exempt stuff. When the market is falling and you are looking for an entry point, big pink bars, a reversal candle, or something, what size candle do you use? Do you keep the 5 minute or use a shorter one?
When looking for my entries,
When you're looking for an entry when the market is falling.
yeah, I only use Big Short charts, and Big Short charts only go down to 5 minute charts. I don't even have, I've never used TradingView even once in my life, so I don't even know what it's like. Never, never experienced it. It could be good for all I know.
Yeah, I look for like a flip and off and a flip in the shadow bars for an entry. Or if we're like at a support, we're like if it seems like a range day and we're at the bottom of a range and we also see a flip and off, then that gives me greater confidence. Okay, we
This
can.
is John. Thank you both. Appreciate that.
Yeah, no worries.
What's a flipping off? Flipping off?
Flipping off?
No,
Flipping
I
off.
think she said
No.
flip in Noth.
Oh, flip in
Yeah.
off. Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Okay, and Tay's marking up today's spy chart saying Tay says dangerous here.
Yeah, you really have
Green
to have some,
bars.
you have to have a little bit of ocular jutsu to be good at chart-based trading. And some of that is inherent, some of that is learned, which is why I encourage you to play chart game with an open mind and then just try to look for patterns. Because like for example, like for somebody like me, I look at this Momo pane, right? And I think, the average Momo bar is a positive Momo bar, right? Because it's not that the Momo selling is exactly equal to the Momo buying. Otherwise, this red line would be zero, right? And then so on a day when the average bar might be something like this, right? Then these sell bars, they mean something, you know?
Yeah, although I would say this one is during power hour, so I wouldn't take that one, but
Can I ask a question about this current graph?
sure.
So, Tay, on that first where Tay says dangerous and you have the big pop of line right there, and then you have a big shadow bar in Momo.
Hunter, you don't
So
sound the way I thought you would sound, but
how'd you?
that's
What
a
was the
nice
expectation?
Stonehenge picture there.
Yeah. Thank you. Yeah. So anyway, so I mean, I would expect looking at that. I mean, although I do see Knopf ticked up a little bit, that it would have, prices would have gone down a little bit, but that's not what happened. And the reason why I would have latched onto that would have been because of the size of that lime
Where where
green.
where are we talking about?
Your first circle there, where you, yeah,
Okay. You thought price would go down, but that's not what happened?
right.
Well, I did always I think I pointed out the exact same thing to you on a previous day, and I specifically said we could just go flat rather than it going down. I think I said this to you either yesterday or the day before yesterday.
Yeah, no,
Um,
I definitely remember that. I guess so. Then I guess a follow-up question would be, are there any indications on this chart that you see right now that would lead you to say it will be or could likely be flat versus going down? Or
um, well, we had a opening range breakout on that bar, and then so there's gonna be a lot of follow through sentiment and follow through algorithmic sentiment as well, because it's a opening range breakout and everyone's kind of trained to identify that. So that might be a bullish force to support it going up. But that smart flow bar, it basically tells you like, we may go sideways, we may go down, but it ain't gonna like be gangbusters like, continuation.
got it. Yeah, I think this is where I get trapped sometimes because then I look at your second circle where the pink bars are going down.
Uh-huh.
And so I see that's, pretty obvious pulling down and then it goes right up afterwards. So in that example, obviously I see a closer correlation between those down pink bars and then the price action moving up very quickly afterward. And so I think sometimes maybe others do too when I'm looking at
Oh,
these charts.
yeah, yeah, yeah. Well, the thing is that I think this is just my feeling, but I think that generally speaking, not always the case, but generally speaking, um, momentum on the way up is more persistent on a time basis.
Okay.
Just very generally speaking. Whereas momentum on the way down, it's more easily retraced.
Okay.
Yeah. And this has to do with the difference in the human emotion of selling and the human emotion of buying.
If that dangerous bar there was dark green, would it be different then? I mean, would that be, indicate all of them? If it's
It
straight
would
forward?
I think it would indicate more of a bullish thing
Yeah,
because
yeah.
that means that the Momo is not in support of that movement. So that means we have a conflict where Smart is buying, Momo is selling, and that means that
There might be
Momo
continuation.
yeah,
Yeah,
Momo still needs to catch up. They need to either cover their shorts or FOMO or something.
yeah. Thanks.
Yeah.
Yeah, thanks, Tay. That's all I had for that one.
Oh,
Are you gonna sing
next
for us now?
question.
I didn't warm up my voice. I'm not prepared, but maybe next time for sure.
All right.
I know
Even
how you feel.
I sang at the beginning of this meeting too.
You did.
I
Yeah.
missed it.
Next
What did I sing?
question.
What did I sing? I sang what did I sing?
Something country.
Oh, right, 5 more minutes. I sang 5 more minutes by I think the guy's name is Scott McClear. Scott, does anyone know the guy's name? Scott McClean.
Mm-mm.
I'm gonna look it up. Ask the next question, Sarah.
Next question. Can
Scott
we go
McCreery.
over, okay, Scott McCreery. Can we go over a review of the SF bars and their implications for price action? I know that sometimes the bars have different meanings based on other indicators too, but I think I need a refresher a little. Yes, I have read the guides.
Wait, let me scroll down. Wait, where is this question?
I asked that question earlier.
Yeah, it was
Oh,
from like an hour ago.
did you get the answer? What was the question?
In part based on what we were just talking about, but
Oh, okay. I found it. I found it. Can we go
yeah,
over a review of the SF bars and the implications for price action? I know sometimes bars have different meanings based on other. Oh, right. Yeah, it's that whole Ninja Star thing. You were here for the Ninja Star thing, right, Hunter?
yes, sir.
Yeah. So, I mean, the Ninja Star thing, it's a little hard to grok, and so that's why I really want to make that video. But in lieu of the video, I kind of just tell people like just don't even look at SmartFlow because I just don't want people to lose money because they have a misunderstanding of things. Um, I always lean towards inaction and conservatism, which Joe really hates. So Joe, just trade every power hour, okay? Just fucking bet your whole 100K stack on that shit.
Joe said, Tay, how did you get so smart? It's unreal. Um,
I can't even. Where's that? Is that right below Hunter's comment?
yeah, that's above Hunter's comment. Okay,
I'm
people
scrolling,
talking about
scrolling.
questions.
Gotta look for the Stonehenge.
Sean Nunez said, how does dark
I
flow?
don't see Joe saying that. Wait, what?
I see it. You see that picture that Christian Felix sent about how to annotate?
Hi, I asked that. Serious
You
question.
asked me why I got so smart?
No,
Yeah.
how did you get so smart? You're a young guy. You're a young guy. How did you get so smart?
1:44 p.m.
You're giving me all this attitude in the Discord, and now you're complimenting me? What's up with that?
I've always thought highly of you.
Well, then why are you complaining so much? See,
Because I missed out on money. Money does that to people.
you gotta really be okay with missing out. Okay? You
I
can't
miss out all the time.
missing out is such a good place to be.
That's
FOMO
where
to
I am
slow mode.
every day because I code and don't trade.
Okay, well, maybe not to that extent, but
No, but serious talk. Serious. How did you get so smart? Because this is annoying to an old guy like me that someone with your youth can be so smart.
well, I
How
don't
did that
consider
happen?
myself that young. I'm 41, but
That's young.
okay.
I
Well,
was done with college and you weren't born.
okay. Well, you could read my Quora answer on race and IQ, although Sarah might have to edit that out. But
Yeah.
but a lot of intelligence is inherited on the X chromosome, so it comes from having a smart mom.
Okay.
Yeah. The dad actually has no bearing on a son's intelligence, other than, of course, the 20% which is nurture. So 80% comes from X chromosome, 20% comes from the environment.
Were you smart as a child growing up? Real smart?
Yeah.
Did you like do AP classes in high school and all that kind of stuff?
I'm actually a high school dropout. I got straight Fs in high school.
Oh my God, you're serious?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay, now this really doesn't make sense.
Yeah, I think it's because I had um anyways, I
What
don't I'm
How
not
about I'll get through all the platform related
Okay.
yeah.
chat questions and then we can
all
Sounds like
right.
an end of the call powwow
yeah,
question.
Yeah, yeah,
exactly.
there
We
we
can
go.
powwow later. So
It
Sean
just blows my
Nunez
mind, that's
asked,
all. It just blows my mind.
um, that's nice. How does Darkflow sort out ATM DPs? It posts above and below. Does that exclude ATM? Parentheses DPs within the candle/wick.
So yes, it really depends. So there's two different main filters. It's either the size of the dark pool. If it's large and it's in the candle, then it'll display in the dark flow. Or if it's small, then it has to be a certain distance away from the candle or the current price that it's trading at for it to be listed.
Just so you guys know, I never click the option flow or dark flow pages on BigShort.
Me neither.
Yeah, those are features that we built because some of our users like that stuff. But for me, I just have a limited amount of screen space and I like to look at charts.
Okay, Dad Trader asked, been trading all the Honey Badger days the last month using the 30-minute orb. Thank you. Can you go over how Tay likes to trade HBD so I can get a different perspective?
Post the picture.
What picture?
No, the picture of your honey badger day, the three possible outcomes.
Oh, yeah, yeah, yeah. There you go, guys.
There it is.
Boom.
It's a trident, right? It's this is actually the mascot of my mater.
I
Go
don't see the TU there.
go Tritons.
Go Triton. So,
This
how do you
this
trade Honey Badger days, Tay?
I just want to say go Tridents too. I went there also. All right, but
yeah. I don't know, man. I'm getting tired. Next question.
Yeah,
Look,
you've been
peop
selling puts. You've been selling puts,
every
right?
yeah, sure. I mean it depends on like if I'm flying. I've been doing a lot of flying around and traveling. Like there's even been a couple days where Sarah has had to trade the honey badger day for me. So those days I prefer to be more conservative, sell puts. But if I'm in front of the computer and I think that it's a situation where the options are cheap enough with a low enough vega, then I will buy calls. But don't ask me how to trade that shit because obviously I don't make enough money from them. There's guys making 100K per honey badger day. A lot. Like even my number one pupil, JP, he makes more money on honey badger days than I do. His story is actually the story that you should learn about. Back like 1.5 years ago, he just randomly signed up to this weird website and was like, "Hey, this guy is Korean. I trust him." And he just stuck with us for 1.5 years, and now he's making 36K per honey badger day. So I think that's a much more compelling story than fucking conservative ass Tay just selling puts and taking naps on honey badger days. I think that's not making the most out of the product.
I agree.
Okay. Alan asks, Tay, you mentioned bar entry being more of an art than a science. Can you elaborate on how you know to time the top of your entries at the top of bars/bottom of bars? There have been times where the flow points in one direction, I enter the bars, print a couple more in the wrong direction before heading in my direction. I always kick myself thinking I could have timed it better. And if possible, can you show an example from today's chart on how to time entries? From Alan.
Uh, well, I guess what I could say about that is that like every indicator changes in real time. Like like the smart flow, the momo flow, the NOF, they all increase and decrease like 4 times a second if you have that setting on the chart, in addition to the price. And the human brain is not really fast enough to process the flow of the market as fast as it's actually coming in. So so the shortcut is to use your to use your quantum intuition. Um, I guess I don't know. It's a I'm so glad that this is a Q&A question and not a Discord question. But
Stop.
like okay. It's like okay, I guess if you have to look at a particular indicator out of all of them, look at the price because you have some idea of what the flow is and um wait, Sarah's texting me.
Oh, no, just
Oh,
that's
okay,
for
okay.
later. It's just
Sorry,
remind.
I thought you were gonna chastise me for the
No, no.
politically incorrect stuff. Okay. But anyways, yeah, so like if your brain doesn't have the bandwidth to process everything simultaneously and you want to scalp and you want to get in at like the exact perfect optimal time, then I think like do a kind of a slower pulling of the indicators and a really fast pulling of the price. You see what I'm saying? So like your indicator is what you like your understanding of it every 5 seconds, whereas the price is you just staring at the price every microsecond and like just like with your finger on the trigger and just looking at the price, if that makes sense. Um, but I mean like if you just look this question of how do you time your entries, if you just look at the chart right now, it's I mean it's pretty obvious where you were supposed to buy today. Just buy on the big pink pink bars. You could buy on the red bars too. Every single one of these red bars led to green. This red bar led to green. This red bar led to green. Sorry, I can't draw very straight lines with my mouse. But yeah, I mean, and then you also let's not forget the Momo. God, fucking tired now. Does that answer your question? Sarah, does it answer the user's question?
I believe so.
Okay.
Okay. Let's see. Next question.
And again, like all the things that I'm talking about, they are in conjunction with price analysis because like price is gonna move the way price is gonna move, but there are waves to price, and the waves are what we time as intraday day traders.
So Tay, like right there at where that big green bar is next to the orange line. Yeah, but the price chart green bar. And right before it, you've got two like choppy looking um candles right there. So would you be looking at just price action there and going, all right, we've had a few bars up, now we're pausing. It could go either way. As soon as you see that green candle open up, you're in. Or are you just like timing the
Well,
pullback on
I
that right?
definitely was not in a short at that point. So at that point, I was thinking we just had an opening range breakout. We just had a honey badger day, and all non-flow indicators indicate that everyone in the Discord should be really bullish and really enthusiastic at this point. And so I thought, oh shit, they're probably too enthusiastic. I better warn these motherfuckers. Um,
Right.
but that doesn't mean that I would short. No, not on an opening range breakout with the honey badger day.
Well, that's what I was actually I'm seeing this because I would see orb and I'd be like, okay, orb, there may be a pullback, and we test the orb again, but right here there's a bar forming where we're gonna sort of orb and then I'm out, before there's a chance of a retest. But of course that's hindsight, which is a lot different. But then I do remember you saying, correctly, hey, this is dangerous. And then we had that chop, and then we had, disaster. So, um, so yeah, I'm just kind of trying to line up, pretend that this is real time and go, okay, there's Momo bars up at the same time you have that orb happening. You know that that might be trouble. Um, but you might have at least one bar to get some calls in. So I don't
Is
know.
that B-Town talking?
This is
No.
Dave.
David.
Yeah. Well, anyway, maybe that's one you wouldn't have traded, but I'm just trying to get a feel for, especially when you're in the candle and you're looking at the candles behind it, going, how do I know which way is this going to go based on the PA? And I'm not a good chart game player, so
Well, chart game doesn't do day trading, so that's different. But yeah, I mean, this is a situation where we have orb and honey badger today, so there's a lot of reasons to be bullish, and and um and so I definitely wouldn't short. And at the same time, that smart flow tells me that I gotta wait before I go long. Um, and I gotta, and definitely I can wait for the Vega to calm down a bit before going long. But after that, unexpectedly, we got this very anemic sort of flow, and so it became like this very um, indeterminable sort of thing. And it looked like it was gonna continue and break out actually, but all of that built up flow, all of that built up positive flow, it's kind of like gasoline, and Trump and Elon just sort of lit a match. Um, and a lot of times, there's no match lit, but the more that we get that market maker short inventory, the more we have to worry. But I mean, like if it's like again, usually if it's like just very small bars, if it's small consistent bars throughout the day, then we're talking about pretty honest price action. But but when it gets big, then that's when they're like, okay, we need to kind of step in and manipulate things a little bit. Next question. I see 16 new messages in this chat. Holy shit, the questions are coming faster than I can answer them.
All right. I'm scrolling down. People, let's see. I'm trying to see if people queue. Okay. To keep track of multiple tickers throughout the day, I've been keeping multiple BS tabs open. Is there a better way to do this that I'm missing, i.e. watch list or multiple windows on one tab?
Nope.
Nope. Someone just said I would like to talk about smart flow, but I think we've already talked about it.
Yeah, SmartFlow again is not Sarah, just in case there's people that haven't seen it, can you load up the list? I know we do it on every Q&A, but I cannot emphasize this list
Okay,
enough.
you gotta get rid of all this then. Yeah.
Okay, everyone, this list is the list from God. And by God, I mean me. I wrote this list. Sorry, I'm not God. I don't mean to say that. But look, this list is the list that you really gotta commit to memory and abide by reflexively.
Great
It's a good
list.
list.
Great list.
All
So
right, I'm
yeah,
scrolling down.
DPs, they're very important, but honey badger eats the DPs, you know?
Lum 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 lum.
Okay. Someone asks, with all the trading, what is it that keeps SPY and SPX aligned?
Um, arbitragers.
Okay. Dad Trader asks, can we expect more honey badger days?
I don't know that shit.
Yeah, that's like asking us to predict the future.
I'll tell
I
you what
hope
though.
so.
I'll tell you what though. If shit gets really bad and we're talking some doomsday shit, then yeah, absolutely. I think
Next.
we're getting a lot of hedge funds shorting because they're expecting some really fucked up macro shit to happen. But in the short, it takes a long time for macro shit to play out. We're talking cracks in the bond market. We're talking Japan. We're talking, that Fed guy today saying that we could get inflation and unemployment simultaneously. Like, oof, that's going to be real bad. Um, but uh, but that stuff, it takes time. It takes time for it to catch on. And in the meantime, the flows are tradable in the opposite direction.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Next question from John. What can we do for you, Tay and team, with all that you are doing, other than pull our limit orders if they don't fill quickly?
Oh, um, well, funny you asked that, John. I don't know if you're a plant planted by Sarah, but
Oh,
the
I assure you I'm not.
oh, okay.
Thanks,
Well,
John.
well, we we actually would really appreciate it if you guys could film some video testimonials for us because I don't know. I think a lot of times people come to our site and they're like, "Man, this looks like a scam." And you know, every other site is a scam, so they're not wrong to think that way. But if we had some people who are willing to uh, show their face and be like, "Look, I'm a real person. I'm not an AI," then that would be very helpful.
Yeah,
I asked Matt for some guidance on what kind of videos to submit, but um,
I think
he
he has
never.
some ideas.
Yeah, he has some ideas, but
Y-
he never responded to me. So
Well, he's going to
so
respond now.
That that's true. I
Well,
dropped
yeah,
the ball.
I'd be happy to do that. Yeah, I'll reach out to you guys in email.
Yeah, or Matt, you want to share what kind of video you'd like?
It's really straightforward. I would say, 30 seconds if you want to keep it short. Certainly no more than 60 seconds. It can be vertical on your phone or record on your webcam. Like this just authentic uh discussions of what you think about Big Short. That'd be super helpful to us.
For what it's worth, Ty, I'm a CPA and I have a bunch of clients, and I've been telling my clients about you.
oh,
Oh,
thanks,
thank
Joe.
you. That's
And
nice.
they're actually excited.
Joe's a disagreeable giver.
Just like you.
Ty, since I've been using your service, I haven't been losing money. I used to lose money. Now my complaint is I'm not making enough money.
Oh,
That's
oh,
a great complaint.
you
Yeah,
sure?
I
Ferrari
have the
problems.
same. I have the same complaint.
That's hilarious. Like every day in Power Hour, Temecula Joe is like cursing. He's like cursing his luck. He's like, man, this fucking sucks. I made $180.
Yeah, that's not enough.
Okay.
Sarah's
Well,
like, that's enough for me.
I know. I was gonna say.
you might wanna learn how to trade options then.
Well, I have all my money in an IRA, and I don't know if I think they might allow you to do options in an IRA.
Of course they do.
Yeah, yeah. If it's a self-directed, you
Because
can.
it's not, I don't have you don't have margin account or anything in the IRA. You can't.
You can have margin on IRA.
You can?
You can have
Yeah.
a,
You can trade, yeah.
Oh, okay.
Just
Yeah.
got to ask for permissions.
You got to apply for it. Okay.
Right.
no, I trade futures in my IRA and even SPX and SPX options. No
Okay.
problem.
Okay.
You want to go big, go SPX, man. Oh.
in a weird way, when I'm doing U Pro and the opposite, it is 3 times leverage. So in a weird way, I feel like I am doing options sort of, because those
Yeah,
those ETFs underlyingly hold options,
Yeah.
yeah, I mean, options are more like 10 to 20 times leverage. So
Yeah,
just take your 180 and multiply it by 3, and that's what you would
yeah.
get betting with relatively conservative options.
But I'm only trading with 100 grand, so my profit potential is limited. It's not like I think like that guy that
Well,
made
$180 isn't that limit.
That guy who that guy who made 100K, he made it with 100 grand.
I know, that's
Oh,
what I'm
that's
saying. He put
insane.
100 grand on the line to get that. So he obviously has some serious money.
He also has some serious problems. He's here with us today. JK, could you make a video testimonial for us,
Yes, please.
buddy old pal?
That would be great.
Friend.
But since I started with you, Ty, I was having some trouble and I was losing. And last month I did make 5 grand. So I'm happy about that. But
Great.
$180 a day is just not enough. I want to make at least like 500 a day.
With 100,000 account, that ought to be simple.
That's a 0.5%. That's what I'm thinking, right?
Well,
You
I mean,
need to be using options.
it's just like those weights behind you, Joe. You start with smaller ones and you work your way up, and if you rush it, then you might injure yourself.
Raw at your
Right.
back.
Right. I'm being old. I don't know. I'm just very conservative, and that's my biggest problem, I think, is
Well, I
I
think that's a correct inclination because um you definitely, I mean, that's how they do it at Vanguard, right? They give you more and more bonds the older you get because
yeah,
you want
right.
to be able to spend the money.
Yeah. I mean, if you looked at my trades, almost all of them are green. It's just that it's like $30, $20, and it's like if I just said held and been riskier, it could have been 230. And I go and I sell and I make 30 when I could have just waited a half hour and made 230. It's frustrating.
I think you should be satisfied with yourself. I'm sure there's people in this Discord who are looking at you like you're Marie Antoinette.
Well,
But yeah, definitely like scale up slowly.
yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, we don't want you to. I mean, like, have
Because
you played
the
chart?
bigger your position size also, the different like you'll feel differently too. So definitely
Yeah,
work your way up.
play some chart game or something, man. Like a lot of times, like people will win 99 times in a row, and then on the hundredth time they go bankrupt.
Yeah.
So
But let's just take a honey badger day, for example. Uh, at the end of the day, I look at the chart and I say, holy shit, this thing did exactly what I was expecting it to do, dropped in the morning and climbed all day long. And if I had just put my whole 100 grand in U Pro at the beginning of the day, I would have made some serious money. But no, I was too scared to do that. And so I put 20 in. And so I made 1/5 of what I could have made. But it's like,
That's pretty high risk to return.
what's that?
Putting 100 grand in like that.
Well, that's what I'm saying. I mean, I'm too scared to go all in on it.
Right. Well, you
It's
shouldn't
not
be.
option. Keep in
Shouldn't
mind,
go
Yeah, but
on
that
on it.
I think
keep
it's
in mind it's
okay.
not.
It's
Keep in mind
okay
it's
to be
not
scared.
options.
it
Keep in
depends
mind
on
it's not
what.
options. So if I'm wrong, I can just sit on it because it's not like the stock market will never go up again in my lifetime. Of course it will. So
Whether or not it's a lot of risk bracket, it really depends on a lot of other variables. Like what Joe's saying about holding UPRO, it's true. I mean, buying and holding UPRO is actually not that terrible of a
yeah,
strategy. I mean, there is some slippage from it being a leveraged ETF,
right,
but
right,
because SPY is has a lot of liquidity, it's not as much slippage as you might think. It's not as much slippage as like, like a freaking leveraged, it's not like leveraged Monster or leveraged Tesla or leveraged VIX. It's
right.
UPRO is pretty okay, but it also depends on what percentage of Joe's entire net worth is 100K. Because I mean, I'm sure Joe, being a boomer, probably has a house, and
Well,
the
yeah,
house
yeah.
house is worth a lot
I
more than
have
100K. He's gonna be okay even if he loses
I have a
100K.
$750,000 house that's paid for and stuff like that. But I'm
Yeah,
talking about my trading account.
yeah.
Is
If I was Joe and I was young, I would absolutely be betting the entire 100K. And I'm not the only one that thinks that way. Chris Camillo thinks that way too.
Yeah, I'm thinking the worst that can happen is doesn't pan out, and I just sit on it, and then it'll go up eventually. The market tends to go
My
up.
my thought wasn't that. My thought was that if he's looking to make 500 a day rather than put 100K into UPro, he
Right.
could make that same amount just putting a couple of grand into some options.
I've got to learn about options. I got to apply for that. And
Yeah, I definitely think that the options are the way to go for him, but
yeah,
that increased leverage comes also with a lower probability of it panning out. Like for example, Brack, if he's trading like one DTEs or something and he holds it for the whole day and spies flat, then he loses 50%. Whereas if he holds UPro, he loses nothing.
I lose
So
nothing,
there's
and
yeah,
maybe I have to
Right.
wait for the next day, and then it turns green on me. That's happened. I called it wrong. I'm down 2 grand. Next day, I'm back to even.
Sarah, next question, please.
Simon asked, perhaps we covered it, but can we discuss the forces that govern a strong HBD and why should we trust them?
Short squeezing, short covering.
Great.
I
Next
mean, we've
question.
covered it in previous Q&As, but for the newbies, like when when people are when people or entities are and like the computers, they're all just programmed to serve human interests. So you can think of computers as humans too. They're just like the arm of a human, you know? I mean, sure, like they're not susceptible to a lot of human flaws and errors, but they're still serving some human interest. But but yeah, the humans and human serving entities such as corporations, computers, or whatever, when they are short, they have a very different emotional utility curve behind it than when they're long, because when they're short, they have to pay interest on the short, and the market does, generally speaking, go up over time, and uh, and so as a result, shorts are a much more pressured and short-term position than longs are. So like if the market goes down, you could keep holding your longs. But if the market goes up while you're short, you can't keep holding your short. And that's why shorts are are very, what's the word? Not fickle, flighty. What's the word, Sarah? You're an English person. Shorts are
Mm,
shorts are
fickle,
no, it's not fickle.
uh,
It's like
ephemeral, short.
like no, it's more like cowardly. It's like they're quick to like retreat.
Mm,
Yeah, I don't know the word I'm thinking
flighty.
of. Yeah, flighty, but flighty doesn't sound right either. But yeah, but they have a different emotional composition is my point. And that's why the short squeezes work because when the price goes up and as the price goes up, humans and computers both will automatically be forced to buy. So it's forced buying. And whenever you have these situations where people are forced to buy, you definitely want to pay attention. Short covering is not the only situation in which people are forced to buy. Like for example, when indexes are rebalanced at the end of the month or something, they're forced to buy. It's blind
Mm.
money. So so definitely think about that when you're conceptualizing and building your entire model of market mechanics. Or you could just not be intellectually curious about that and just point and click and follow the charts like some people on Big Short do. And I find that the latter group makes a lot more money than the group that is very intellectually curious like I am.
Okay, next question. That's a great answer. ES asked, this is a longer question. How can I use Big Short to swing trade optimally? I have the ability to place good until canceled OCO or OTO orders, etc., either the night before or the morning of a trading day, and I typically hold trades for a few days to a week. Given that, should I focus on the 1 hour or the 1 day charts for entries and exits? Also, how do I effectively use all the available indicators on Big Short, including price action, to make the best possible swing trades?
Well, you're already submitting limit orders, which means you're in the doghouse. But the the uh, the swing trading channel, they do a lot of swing trades in there, and they would know better than me because I don't do as many swing trades. But um, but I would definitely recommend the top 10 SC list, and I would also recommend like really outsized NOF spikes. Um, Take a look at those on the daily, I mean, and uh, and yeah, I mean like even if you are trading, the shorter time frames they do really help your entries. But you're saying that it sounds like you're saying that you can only set orders the night before and then you go to work and you can't even look at the charts. And that's kind of tough. Um, yeah, I guess I would recommend the SE list in that
Yeah,
sense.
basically I'm in a lab setting, and so I have to focus on lasers and other sorts of dangerous equipment, and I can only it's sporadic when I can actually like focus on a trade if I'm at work. So yeah.
Okay. Um, yeah, sorry, I can't really be much help because I'm not really a swing trader, but
Okay.
you were here earlier when we were looking at the SE charts, right?
Yeah.
Yeah, those charts, they're gold. And honey badger days, like if you can pay a little bit of attention in, or if are you on Pacific time?
No, I'm on Eastern time.
Oh, well then you can't even do that, but okay, yeah, I don't know. I would say maybe sell puts on honey badger days like I do, because I'm a really lazy trader. I'll give you that. Like a lot of times I just don't even want to look at the screen. So
Hmm.
yeah, selling puts and SE list. Like I didn't really tell anyone this, but I actually sold puts on Gap a couple days ago, and everyone else like bought shares or calls or something, and they're down on their shares and calls, but I'm actually up on puts that I sold. So so yeah.
So,
Next
so
question. Oh yeah, go ahead.
just with the SE that you were showing, what was the chart data at the bottom with all the ticks below the price? Was
You
that
mean
volume?
that was those were the SE spikes.
SE spikes. And what does SE stand for?
So you see the chart and see at the top and see the check mark. It's
Yeah.
next to the check mark and it says short exempt.
Uh-huh.
That's what SE stands for.
Okay.
Yeah. And don't use SC for SPY, although on this screen it seems that it's working quite well for SPY. And that's not to say that it doesn't work at all for SPY, but it's definitely something where you want to pay more attention to the individual companies in SPY.
I see.
Yeah,
Okay.
for SPY, just do the honey badger, easy.
Yeah.
Hmm. All right. Thank you.
Okay.
Next question.
Next question. I think Matt Miller said when we were looking at um, the indicator list, he said SmartFlow doesn't even make the list. We've been talking about it a lot. You think it's less important than seasonality?
Uh, I just feel like because it's so hard for me to explain the Ninja Star thing that yeah, I guess it's not really an importance thing, but more like a heuristic for how to use Big Short effectively. But I guess I mean like there are features of Big Short where if you were like super duper smart, like much smarter than me, and you had some kind of like humongous like AI inference brain or something, you could probably get a lot more out of those features and how we teach you how to use them. But like the way we teach it is kind of for dummies. And even then, a lot of people complain and say that it's too complex. So so
Yeah,
yeah,
especially
Big
this is
Short,
the new user guide too, so it's for like brand
right.
new people.
So to sum it up, Big Short is what you make of it. And we display the data and we display some very important data and we visualize it in some very helpful ways. But but there are people who use Big Short in their own secretive personal ways that they don't even share with people. Like Sean, the
Mm.
NIMBY. He's like, I use Big Short in these secret ways that I'm not telling you. And I'm like, okay, good for you. Hope you're successful with it. And and yeah, um, and if people want to contribute new ways to use Big Short, we're always very happy about that. But not as happy as I am about Dave giving me that UNH trade.
We even named an indicator after Martian.
Yeah, yeah, there you go.
All right, next question. Matt Miller said, "Don't y'all think big money can infer where your orders are, especially stops, even if you don't enter
Wait, I,
them?
I didn't hear the first part of the question. Don't
Don't y-
what?
don't y'all think
Uh-huh.
big money can infer where your orders are, especially stops, even if you don't enter them?"
Yeah, that's why we teach you not to use limits or stops. Just do not place orders. Don't place market orders. Don't place limit orders. Just don't place any orders. Read Sarah's article about hanging limit orders and
But I
stop
think I
losses.
think he's saying that even if you don't enter them, they can infer where your orders are.
As in they're gonna read our minds?
Yeah, that's why I actually responded to him afterwards. I was like, how so?
Uh, well, I guess they could read our mind through sort of like predictive s- algorithms and statistics and stuff.
Hmm.
But but there's always going to be some uncertainty there, and if we behave in a way that defies the statistics on which those algorithms are trained, then we win, like GME.
We sure do.
Yep. And Matt Miller said, "Okay, I get that. Good answer. But smart flow doesn't seem super difficult. Like pink bars are bullish, right?"
Yeah, but sometimes pink bars are bearish.
Dun dun dun.
And
Dun dun
Sereni
dun dun
said,
dun.
Then it begs the question, when are they bullish and when are they bearish?
Yep.
Well, then I have to draw some kind of weird ass ninja star graphic for you guys, and then everyone's like, what the fuck are you talking about? And then I'm like, okay, next question.
On that note, what I'm observing is when there's a big bar, it just maybe indicates a change in direction.
Yeah, Joe's right. When the bars are outsized, when they're significantly larger than the normal bar, then it's easier to infer something from that. But for example, like JK, I know he made a lot of money on that time when Momo was selling and Smart was buying. Sarah, let's go back a couple of days to that day. It's the dark green bar day. Um, was it that day?
"Was it?"
Yeah, right? Or no, it was a honey badger day.
Every day was a honey badger day.
I know, it doesn't
Right.
narrow it
Oh yeah,
down.
this one. The
Dark
dark, no,
green.
no, the one before that one.
This one.
Yeah,
Oh,
right at the bottom, dark green, right? So if you shorted there, Matt Miller, you'd be mighty disappointed in Big Short. And that is why I don't include SmartFlow on the list.
okay.
And
Next
that doesn't mean that
question.
SmartFlow is useless. It just requires a more nuanced understanding of how it works. Next question.
Okay, Tay, can you please explain in detail on how you take the first minute trade at open that you mentioned earlier? Thanks.
It's just the direction of the Momo bar. If it's Momo Monday, then I trade in the direction of the bar. Um, this chart we're looking at is actually a Monday. So see how the bar is pointing up, then I would go along. But if this was not a Momo Monday and not a Momo situation where the market makers are like, whoa, let's see how people react to this news. If it's not that situation, and then I would short this bar on
Yeah.
the upward
And
pointing Momo bar. And again, this is something that I feel the market across like a 30-second to 2-minute sort of time frame.
yeah, and Knopf was also bullish here too, right?
Yeah, right.
Yeah, so you
You
had
gotta
that.
look at everything,
Yeah.
including NOF, definitely. Yeah. But on
Okay.
that particular day, I did go long on that bar, and then I did sell.
Okay, next question. We had a few pink bars on SPY today, so if you could pull the chart up, it will help to visualize. Thanks.
Yes.
Okay, here's the chart.
That's not a question, that's a statement. I feel like Mark Zuckerberg is in one of his first interviews.
I think you like marked up the chart earlier and you had circled these.
Yeah, but what's the question?
There's no corresponding question. I think maybe they just wanted to see the chart as you were talking.
All
Oh, no,
right.
wait, no, Srini said meant to ask, how do you trade these pink bars? They look like reversals.
What do you mean, how do you trade them? You go long on them.
That's how you trade them. Long here, long here.
Next question.
Next question. Any update on adding GEX levels to the BS charts?
Well, we have Mr. Andrew Lim here to update us on that.
Yeah, so it's a work in progress. But estimated time is probably about a month. Which is what he said last month. Month before.
1 month.
1 month. You heard it here in the Q&A.
Yep. Just like nuclear fusion is 15 years away.
Yep.
Next question.
Matt Miller
Did
said,
you
except
get,
for the
how did you,
times that pink bars are bearish.
how did you get unlimited free charging?
It's a promotion that they run once in a while.
Hmm.
But it's not very profitable for them, so they only do it when they really want to boost their quarterly numbers. You got to take advantage of stuff like that. Like your generation, your generation's version of that was when American Airlines was almost broke, and then they gave out those unlimited lifetime first class passes. You got to jump on that and buy that, and then you get to fly first class for the rest of your life.
I missed both.
You
Oh,
misspoke? Oh, you missed
he
both.
missed both.
Oh,
Both. I
okay.
missed the airline and I missed the free charging. I don't pay attention enough, I guess.
Next question, Sarah.
Those are all, oh, one more. Okay. So are there, sorry. So are these pink bars reliable, or do we need to use them in conjunction with other bars?
Use them in conjunction with Momo Flow
Definitely.
because like the fact that the bar is pink means that Momo Flow is going in the same direction, but you also need to see how big the Momo Flow is relative to other Momo Flow bars of that day. And also, look at what NOF is doing too and all that jazz.
Great. The hunter said, I think you are right to dissuade SF focus. Look at the level of confusion, uncertainty, and just multivariable understanding.
Yep.
Yeah, it's
complex.
it's more advanced. Okay, that's the end of all of the chat questions.
Oh,
Any more
nice.
questions, guys?
Any user questions? I mean voice questions rather.
Any voice? Christian Felix said, when can we get another chart game class?
Never.
It'll be
Man.
part of the course.
Yeah,
There
when
you
is
go.
that course coming out, Tay?
Never.
Never.
We're all meeting in Puerto Rico for the course, as I
I
understand it.
actually really do want to meet you guys in person, and if
Yeah.
somebody ever organizes a meetup, of Big Short users, I will absolutely attend that. Like I will go out of my way to attend that.
Yeah, that sounds
And
fun.
when I show up, if you guys just decide to ambush me and make me teach you guys things, then I will. Because I mean, that's just social pressure. What am I going to do in that situation, right? But
Run.
Yeah.
it's
Pressure
really a
Tay,
matter
guys.
of like,
I see a plan coming together.
yes, exactly. But
It's good.
it just it takes a lot of organization and timing and everything. And it's just it's everything I don't want to do. Guys, like I'm telling you, like I truly believe that the most value I can offer you guys is by never talking in the Discord again and working with Andrew on building better indicators.
True
Like
story.
I really think that so you know how I always talk about the interaction between price and flow, right? Like I think I can make it so that it's all just one indicator and it's just easier to read. But I just and there are a lot of little ideas like that that I have, but I just don't have the time to do what I love, which is improving this product. And I love improving the product because the product helps me make money. And that's what that's why I built this thing.
Yeah. The users love your chats. But what are you gonna do? We can have a
I
vote.
have a whole list of all your stuff in a Word doc. I just copy and paste it. It's gold.
Yeah, I think actually I really want Hunter to learn about all like I want Hunter to be able to trade as well as I can so that he can be the one that teaches people, right?
Oh, that's a great idea.
Like that's where I see him fitting into the community.
Ooh, that's
Yeah.
nice.
So if there's anyone that I'm eager to teach and eager to berate for not understanding SmartFlow, it's Hunter. And it's because
He's
because
your
I am
Padawan.
yeah, I am Asian dad meme.
You hear that, Hunter? It's all on your shoulders.
Speaking
Sounds
of
like a
social
lot
pressure.
of work. It's gonna really cut in my sitting around time.
And
What's
I've got
that?
a Zoom.
Okay, let's see if there's any. Someone said, I can accept that it's more subtle. That makes sense. Maybe we can work on studying it. And then someone else said an
It's a
indicator like that would be a game changer.
it's a very funny sidestep by Sarah, just like
And
completely
then
ignoring Brad.
Yeah.
and then Christian
He's like,
said,
so
back to the chat.
It's
Christian
master
said,
redirection.
You
yeah,
know,
someone definitely needs to take over that role,
in all
aka the
seriousness, on this
hunter.
point, on all seriousness on this last point, I think the smart flow, it on the surface, it looks like a great opportunity for really deep data analysis where you could kind of come up with trends and correlations, and obviously not the obvious ones that kind of Tay you've called out, but maybe some of the more nuanced ones that are more complicated. Um, I don't know, just that just comes to mind, just like the short exempt stuff I've been talking to Andrew about. So at some point, maybe that's a good use of time, or for someone like me or whoever else.
Yeah, I mean, I want to do data science. I want to do all that fucking shit. I don't know what the fuck I'm doing with my life here, just like drawing circles in a Zoom call for you guys. But look, guys, um, the orange circles lead to green price, and the green circles lead to red price. Isn't that so nice?
So
And it
nice.
is, and it's especially predictive when they're very big like this.
But it's during power hour, so don't trade it. Just watch it.
isn't
No,
nice.
Joe is allowed to trade it.
Okay, Joe trade it.
Joe's gonna lose his 100K trading power hour.
No, you
He's
can
gonna
only trade power hour.
yeah, Joe, you're we'll change the software so Joe's only allowed to access it during power hour.
Yeah, exactly. We'll change the picture so it's not Mr. Miyagi's face, it's Joe's face. Everyone but Joe, get out of here.
And then Joe's gonna be like, why did you make me trade power hour? This is hard. Like I'm sure a lot of people were really caught off sides by this power hour move right here. And we're just trying to protect you against this thing right here. But if
Right.
you don't want to be protected and you just want to go in and just, have at it. Just don't blame me.
Yeah, don't blame the software.
Yeah. All right. Any other
We
questions?
literally paid a Japanese actor to say power hour so that you guys will know that it's power hour and not to trade it.
Somebody just left the Zoom. They're like, okay, that's it.
Bye.
And we're
And on that
Guess
note,
we're
I'm
done.
out.
Okay, well, thanks so much for attending, everyone. It's another great session. And if you guys could send your video testimonials over to myself or Matt, that would be super appreciated. And yeah, see everyone for the next one in 2 to 4 weeks or whenever we do it.
4.
Thank you, everybody.
Thanks,
Thanks, guys.
Thanks,
Thank you.
guys.
And
Yeah,
please
thank
send us
you.
some video testimonials if you love our product, because
And you don't want us to shut down, please. Thank you.
if you want us to shut down, then don't send us video testimonials. How about that?
Absolutely.
Alrighty.
Okay, everyone's just slowly leaving.
Yep, they're just slowly shuffling out.
All right, I'm gonna stop this recording.
Want us to be a money grab. Like they want the indicators to be like, hey, buy here, sell here, and they want us to be more scammy and more like simplified in a sense.
And to be honest, this is a money grab. It's just an honorable money grab. I just thought, hey, I don't have to trade anymore. I could just get thousands of users like these scams, and then I'll have, all this money that I could just go drink pina coladas on the beach for. But that, how wrong was I? Shit.
Extremely wrong.
It's because the scams are like simple stupid. And it reels people in, and it's all Facebook ads, usually talking head on it, giving that. And unfortunately, like they grab it and they're usually preying on the people that can barely afford their costs. It's usually not the people that are flush with cash.
Yeah, we have
Not
a
saying they
very
don't fall
interesting.
prey.
I think one of the reasons why our Discord is so good is because everyone in our Discord is actually pretty successful already.
Yeah, it's pretty
Yep.
true.
Yeah.
Hey, I
No,
think you're
it's
kind of
definitely true.
I think you're discounting the effect of all the stuff that you posted previously about with your tax returns. I mean, like that is like honestly gold. I mean, no one does that, right?
Yeah, nobody does that.
And if you were to be able to do that in some way that an accounting firm, like a reputable, just like Price Waterhouse, it doesn't matter, whatever it is,
I
right?
actually looked into this, and
Yeah.
it's so expensive. It costs tens of thousands of dollars, and they also required a lot of effort on my part, and I would have to like find the. So basically, the hardest part is they wanted me to uh, get options data that showed like the exact like bid and ask for options that I entered 10 years ago
Oh my
in
God.
order to
Ooh.
prove my
Yeah.
track record. So yeah, that's why I kind of gave up on that.
Yeah, my
But I mean, like, I
client,
could literally screen
certified?
share and,
Your
my
tax
clients
return
usually
certified?
pay.
oh, is that a thing? I don't even know
I
what
thought
that means.
well, I would assume so because
So
the money comes out like I would assume they'd be able to trace the money because of the way in which you get your statement from whatever your brokerage is.
yeah, you can get your tax returns certified, but they can't necessarily say like I looked into this a little bit.
It's from that,
They don't have
like,
the details in how the money came about, right? Like you could have
yeah.
done one epic trade and made a ton of money and be like, I'm an incredible day trader or whatever. And the point is, no, you didn't. You just made like you won the lottery one time, right? But your tax return still shows the thing. So there's these different levels of it. And
I guess what I'm
it's
saying is, does the nuance matter to the audience, depending on what
probably not.
audience you're going
So,
after? Like
so you're
currently,
saying I could just tell my accountant, my CP is actually a reputable nationwide firm, Baker Tilly. So you're saying I could just go to my account and say, hey, you just write me a letter that says that from 2015 until now, my tax returns are certified?
I'm saying would that hold, like it depends on the audience you're going after. Like the the part to that, it you have to define like what you think where your sweet spot is for your audience to be able to target them, and then what do they care about?
I
And
mean,
Matt like clearly has already kind of been probably beating a drum of this type based on his response to me earlier.
for me, it's less about the effect of it, but more about the cost of it. Like if it costs like an OTM option, then why not? Like I would love to get my tax returns certified if it was cheap enough and easy enough. If it required no effort on my part and I only had to pay like less than $10,000 to do it, I would do it.
Effort
But
time.
do you have all your brokerage statement? I mean, you could pay it, you could have it, things audited by a CPA, right? Or a registered financial professional, and they can audit and certify your trading results. I mean, I just feel like this is this is something that is really
Well, the
solvable in
auditing
my
of the trading
opinion.
results is what I tried to do before, and it was extremely difficult.
Yeah, it's not low effort. I've done multiple
Got
like
it.
audited financial things in the past, and the problem is they do a ton of the work, but you still need to do so much.
Yeah.
You need to provide them with so much info, and it is potentially the effect on someone reading Tay's story is the same. After all that effort, it's the same as it is now. So
Yeah.
dubious
Yeah.
results, maybe.
Well, it depends on what people care about and
Yeah.
being able to tap into that. Um,
I mean, I saw your stuff that you posted, and like that was good enough for me. I mean, right? Like I'm not double checking it.
Yep.
Like, could you have created it and faked it? Yeah, sure, whatever. But like, I was like, it's good enough for me to certainly try. And then the money doesn't matter, like the monthly stuff, it's just inconsequential. So it's like, okay, then I can test it out and see. I mean, I would consider myself relatively sophisticated. So I think that maybe that hurdle is not as high as
You
it
got to,
seems to be as presumed.
you guys, as a CPA, this hits home because you got to remember Enron was certified. Bernie Madoff was the president of NASDAQ. He was certified, and people they just are skittish. It might even make it look like you're trying to work too hard, to prove yourself.
Well, guys, I don't know. One thing I could do is I could do a screencast where I log into my Interactive Brokers account and then click on the reports. I don't know if that'll help, but I fucking promise, man. Like, hand on my heart, I've got nothing to hide when it comes to my returns.
I think the video testimonials that you're chasing is probably the best thing because it's one thing for you to say, "Hey, I'm a good trader," and look at me, but it's another thing for your customers to say, "Hey, since I
Right, right. Yeah, if
started with
anything,
Agreed.
BigShort, change."
I significantly underperform many of my best customers, especially on these honey badger days.
I mean, potentially you could also do a day in the life of as well. Like the video testimonial is somewhat like that because it gives you a snippet. But if you actually followed someone that had good, consistent returns, you had them give essentially a testimonial of like what they did, but it's more continual, so it doesn't feel like one quick hit. And like kind of like that thing, like I made one big trade and I made all this crazy amount of money. Um, to that as well might hold a bit more water to the
Yeah, I would love for all these videos to be made. I'm just not going to be the one making them. But
no. I mean, well, time its level of effort goes
Yeah.
up
And
and
exponentially.
this is
and
totally unrelated, but sometimes when I make a decision to buy golf clubs, it's about the end user saying, "I love my clubs. I got these clubs and my game's improved. I love it." And I don't really want to hear from Callaway telling me it's a great club. I want to hear somebody that bought the clubs tell me it was a great
That
trade.
makes sense.
Yeah.
Yeah.
this is good, Matt. You got a lot of stuff to do, Matt. I would
That's
also
why I shamelessly ask for people to talk about us on Reddit and the other platforms that they're on, because there's absolutely uh, no substitute for
Yeah.
word of mouth.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can't
Is there
well,
cannot be
specific groups?
effectively faked.
Reddit
Yeah.
is like the most anal place ever. They're just
Reddit
gonna
is
get
so
canceled.
scary. Gotten
But
yelled
Well,
at
like,
it's
so much
all
on Reddit.
it's about finding the right pocket. Like that's the hardest part. There's so many trolls that are on it. Like you kind of have to take the good and the bad, but it sounded like Sarah, you had an experience that was pretty.
Yeah, well, I think there's just so many scams out there, and so it's hard to differentiate ourselves and like the 10, 20 seconds that people will give you when you're talking about a product, and like I feel like in Reddit in general is just a very skeptical community because I mean, I think it's like correctly so because there are so many scams out there, but it's hard to differentiate. And I think we have to rely on like the goodwill of our users to spread the word and add some legitimacy because
And I
like you were
also
saying
want to
about the golf clubs, like people aren't just going to believe Callaway, right?
I
Yeah.
also want to add that one potential hurdle to getting the user testimonials from the most successful users is that, in my experience, there is a very clear anti-correlation between trading ability and social skills. Like the best traders I know are like super fucking autistic, and that applies to the Big Short users too. Like the best traders, like the traders that made the most money on Big Short are Song, and I mean JP makes a lot of money. I don't know. I've as much as I get along with the guy, I don't know if I've ever even heard him talk in a Q&A. Like maybe he talked for like 1 second or something, but like good traders tend to be like pretty fucking antisocial.
Yeah,
Um,
there was that one guy who messaged you because Big Short happened to be down and he would just casually said, yeah, he made like 100K in the last like week or something and he was regularly making that much and then Big Short went back up and we never heard from him again. Like,
yeah,
yeah, a
yeah,
lot of
and
I think the best traders we've like literally just never heard from.
Yeah, and like this JK guy, he made 162K with his fucking kid's college fund. But once the moment I asked for video testimonials, he's like he just immediately rage quits out of this Zoom meeting.
Is there
So
a way to do it where you don't end up showing people's faces or tell their real names to it? Like I know kind of like if you think about some of the DJs that have like crazy like head things
No,
that
but
are
then
like you
but
don't really
then
know
making the
somebody.
real face and the real names, it just adds that legitimacy to the
That,
to the to the review, you know?
no, I hear it adds legitimacy, but a lot of people because they are successful in their other walks of life too as well, may not want
Right.
their piece done like that because
Yeah.
people are like, "Hey, are you doing that on my time?"
Right.
But imagine like you're watching a testimonial and all of a sudden it's like this dark figure or like it has a Gumby face and then like the voice is distorted. Yeah, I like Big Short real. It was really,
I
really
wasn't
good for
meaning it
me.
totally like that, but it's
yeah,
almost like if you had a way to
It's
blur
like
the
a
person
conspiracy
out.
video.
Yeah.
it's like one of those
There is
terrorist
a
videos from
distrust level
Anonymous or
already. I was
something.
just trying to think of a way because there's
Yeah, no, I mean, I
funny
really
people.
appreciate this like
Yeah,
brainstorming.
yeah.
It's really, really
I do
good.
too. I do too.
And I think it's food for thought for Matt and Brennan too, on how we can make this like a palatable ask for our users.
Yeah, like in some sense, but I would rather have that kind of like video than none at all. You know what I mean?
For sure.
So I guess it's up to the users.
Yeah. We just have to hope they like us enough to make something for us.
Yeah, something.
We
Or
can
you
live.
could use a filter and
Yeah,
record it
there's
with a
there's
filter
definitely a
on.
lot of options, and different people can have different
Requests.
levels that they're comfortable with, right? So
Yeah.
we get the video, but the request is like, don't use my real name, and or like whatever. Like we have all sorts of ways we can potentially utilize the material. If we have it, we have options. But if we
Hmm.
don't have anything, we have zero options.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Understood.
All right, so I guess now we're just kind of hanging out and sipping on our beers together.
Yeah.
Oh yeah.
I'm gonna say goodbye.
All right, Joe.
Joe's like,
Thanks
I'm
for
Joe's
done with you
joining.
guys.
I'm
Joe's like beer.
no,
I'm
I'm
out.
old. I'm old. When you get old, you get fatigued.
I'm sure Tay's tired too with all this talking he's had to do.
I don't have an attention span more than 3 hours anymore. That's
Yeah,
where I gotta go take a nap.
we've been talking
All
for a
right, Joe.
while. All right,
Thank you,
nice.
Kai, for everything.
Yeah, yeah. Go
Thanks,
ahead and
guys.
play trade Power Hour tomorrow, Joe.
No,
and then
no,
tell us.
you're just saying that because then you know I'll mess up, and then you'll say I told you. I
I'm
can't
really
win.
looking forward to that, actually.
Oh.
That's you
I
got
knew
me.
it.
I
I knew
mean,
you were. That's
that
why I
is
didn't
the
say
His
it today.
favorite thing to
You
do in
got
life.
me.
Ty. I've noticed about Ty is that sometimes he positions himself so that he's always right no matter what.
Well, thanks so much for joining, especially thanks for hanging to chat. And if there's anyone in here who's willing to record a video, we'd appreciate it.
Yeah.
Thank
Thanks so much,
you.
guys.
Thanks, guys.
Thanks.
Spy's going up a little, guys.
Take care.
alrighty.
Yeah.
I'll try not to whine tomorrow.
But also, I think it's also okay. Like, part of what helped my trading is being okay with leaving some money on the table because there's always going to be more trades as long as you're learning and just improving a little bit every time. Like, you don't need to put so much pressure on yourself, Joe.
Yeah, no FOMO.
You know what?
Yeah.
It's funny you should say that because that's kind of why I'm conservative. Because previous lessons that I've learned from professionals, they explained that uh, capital preservation is how you stay in the game. And
Yep.
if you
Yeah.
lose if you lose your capital, then you can't play the game anymore.
Yep.
I've said this
And
in
then
chat a lot of times. Your goal is to stay in the game.
and one way to do that is to do what JK did and double your account, then withdraw the original principal balance, and that way you will never ever have lost money trading.
That,
Play with the house's money.
that was my Vegas strategy whenever I visited Vegas. As soon as I was way up, I would hide my initial stash.
I'm actually even thinking about like forcing my clients to withdraw their money after I double it, just so that like I can, in good conscience know that I've never lost anybody's money.
Mm.
Yeah, you should.
Yeah, you definitely
They
should.
should be freaking happy with what you've done
Whatever you
this
tell
year.
them to
Oh my
do.
God.
Yeah, seriously.
I don't think they're gonna want to withdraw half those.
I know. They're like, absolutely not. You could make it like in the terms, maybe.
Yeah. Okay. Well, I guess that's about it then. Nice little hangout, guys.
Yeah. Good
Nice
stuff.
hangout.
Okay.
Thanks, guys.
Bye bye.
Thanks.
Thank you.
Have a good
Bye.
night, everyone.
Bye.
Bye.